Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the grand finals of the SpyParty Masters Championship. My name is Taboshi. I'm joined today by Slappy Davis.
Oh, hello. I'm so legitimately excited for this. It's going to be incredible.
And we've got Wrestler as our host and analysis desk for the evening. Speaking of which, let's throw it over to Wrestler real quick to run through what's been going on up until this point, give you guys a rundown of the story thus far.
Yes, thank you very much, Tobo. And indeed, I would say for this finals, the storyline is, I think that sometimes you can say that the true finals would happen in the semifinals. In this particular instance, we do have the two hottest players facing off in the SMC 2023 finals. Miniorek versus Roth have looked a step above the competition, and I can't wait to see how it's going to be turning out. Though, looking at the previous matchup, sadly, for Miniorek, it doesn't look too good. But the past 5 games have been one tie and 4 wins versus for Rav. Winter Cup 2022, SCL 7 Silver Finals, Winter Cup 2023, and Summer Cup 2023 have all been won by Rav. In fact, if you want to take a look at when's the last time Miniorek won versus Rav in a set, you have to go back to Summer Cup of 2020. That's 3 years ago in a round of 32. So Miniorek unfortunately facing one of the worst matchups style-wise for him. And let's say, speaking of that opponent, Rav has always this year has been incredible. His sniper has been absolutely on point this entire tournament. Though Aravesh came close to cracking it with that close 11-9 loss, it just hasn't been easy for anyone to get a sniper when past Rav. And in the past, you could say that the spy of Rav has been fairly lackluster. He has picked up something that's not a lot of people will be going for. That's just a very good ability to frame. So I'll have a specific example of it here in the semifinals versus Ada. We're 1 minute 55 left in the game. We're one of only 2 highlights in the entire game. We have a bug in pocket and a flirt. So we're gonna go ahead and run here. At this point of the situation, you would really want to go for banana bread, since the conversations are relatively filled. There's only like 4 people out of conversation. But Rob notices that the other most suspicious person, the Teal, he doesn't know that she's highlights, but he knows through watching her that she's one of the top suspects. So he waits until he joins this conversation, goes for a banana bread, and then runs off to get the delegate as if we were getting sent from her. And Adafiash has no choice but almost shoot Teal here, because at this point, she could legitimately just be trying to go for a shark walk bottom with a purloin at this very position. And Rav, unfortunately, just shoots incorrectly. And that's the power of frames sometimes, even though we were one of the highlights in this situation. Rob recognizes the correct AI to shoot to frame, and that's something really hard to deal with, and not a lot of people are going to be able to deal with it. But let's move on to Miniorek next. Miniorek, I would say, though, it has been rough for him against Rav. In this particular tournament, I would say he has shown to be the best player, even above Rav. His sniper, whilst not as elite, is still very, very good, and in a totally different way. He's one of the 2 people in the entire community, I would say, that he has this really solid understanding of pathing and what a spy or an AI can do. So I'll just quickly go over to the sniper game from Miniorek. Opirice is on the spy on the same set, on the same venue. Opirice going for the statue inspects. Keep in mind, we don't highlight for the inspects here, but Miniorek sees something in this upcoming path and then immediately lays onto it and gets a highlight for Opirice, which eventually turns into a shot later down the track. And you can see at the end game, even here at this exact point, we have whilst the contact hasn't happened, we still have 8 party members slowly just from pathing alone. And since raw spy has been fairly slow this entire tournament, this is one of the key strengths that Miniorek will have to try to abuse in order for him to go over to win versus Rav. And with that said, we can go over to the draft, and Slappy has some predictions that's been cooking up previously this set.
Yes, absolutely. And let me actually draw that link into the chat, just in case people have not gotten a chance to see them on the Discord. But yes, similar to last year. Oh, am I able to paste it in? All right, 1 second. But similar to last year, where we had those specific predictions coming in, I have cooked up a little bit like slightly altered predictions. And the beginning of them is who wins, right? So obviously, when we have this prediction set up, I think the SMC official site predictions was who was going to get here, right? What was the path of the players? Who was going to end up in the finals? And then, of course, who was going to win? And this pair was by far the most selected, I believe, to appear versus each other based upon how the groups had shaken out. Completely agree with what you said that we have gotten probably the strongest finals possible out of any of the pairs that you possibly could have in the entire tournament. And then we also, I'm going to roll on down. So I don't think I'll put everybody on the spot too much because there's a lot of predictions, but I'll fly through them real quick where we're going to be predicting how high the green test rate, whether it's going to be higher or lower than 65%. What the margin of victory is going to be for the players, if it's going to be greater than 4 games, less than 3, or 3 or less. Whether or not the sniper win rate is going to be 70%, more or less. The win streak of one particular role, it's probably going to be sniper, if we're being honest. Took the question out from last year where it was like, what's the longest streak going to be? Is it be spy or sniper? And that was just a free space question. Whether or not we're going to see a sniper win in 30 seconds or less, whether or not we're going to see a mission completion, not a mission completion win in under a minute. So if they just get the missions done and the timer starts with less than a minute elapsed in the game, that's how I'm going to count it. So they actually have the full 60 seconds, not 50 seconds. Whether or not we're going to see a 3 or less civ shots, or more than that. And then if we're going to see any particular character selected as spy more than 6 times. Last year, by the way, Boots was chosen 7 times by Miniorek. I want to say like 6 times in a row as well. And then Opie actually picked Boots a couple of times after I think Opie finally figured out that Boots was just getting dumped in as spy. When we see Smallman, are they going to be a spy, double agent, suspected double agent, seduction target, or ambassador? Not just a regular guest. That's probably going to be the most common one. And then how many innocent drinks are going to be taken by spies? I'm actually going to be hoping that chat can help me keep track of this one. That is no purloin take, no delegate option, no fingerprint. Whether or not we're going to see spies end up as lowlit, like you said before, curious to see if Miniorek is going to be able to keep his lowlights extremely accurate based on pathing, if Rav knows and can prepare the pathing for him. How many shots in overtime we are, regardless of if they're correct or not. And then finally, this one's the funnest for me, just because I'm really curious about how to set these groups up. We're going to see which of these teams that I've put together are going to be picked the most often as spy. There's the team with the dark hair, the team with the fully visible ear tops, the team with the mostly visible necks, and the juiced folks. So we're going to be one hand, grabbing how often they gotten picked, and then a separate question of how actually did they do, which one won the most. And then finally, to end off, we have the four-way parlay, which is they have to meet all four of these conditions for you gambling addicts. If there are more spy shots than all the other all the other win conditions combined, um, whether or not any single venue has at least 2 spy wins, the set lasting over 20 games, and the number of correct shots in overtime is equal to or higher than incorrect shots. So when there's overtime shots, that they're generally on the spy and correct. And all four of those conditions have to be resolved as correct in order for yes to come back for the parlay. All right. So I think I'll throw it back to you for any other closing spots on whether or not we're actually going to get any predictions from us on who's going to win. I won't make us do all of those predictions because that was a lot that I just ran through there.
Firstly, we have to get into the draft rules, but it's not super complicated this time around. Each player gets a ban, each player gets a double, and after that, every single random venue is going to be played as single, as long as there's not a win beforehand. So quickly going through it, Rav bans balcony and Miniorek backs veranda, and we're gonna start with doubling aquarium and double TN. Thoughts on that?
I want to talk about double Tayen because that is wild to me. Tayen is one of those crazy venues where guarding Bug suddenly becomes like one of the least easy things to do in the entire game. It's already often quite difficult to keep a good enough eye on the ambassador to make sure that he's safe. But on Tayen, more often than not, you just sort of have most of the party credited with Bug by the time the game's over. Doubling that venue is a pretty wild decision.
Yeah, absolutely. And an interesting outcome of them doubling Tayen and Aquarium with those going first is that we're going to go Aquarium, Tayen, and then Redwoods. So the 3 occlusion venues are going to be all right at the start of this very long set. So I would expect that a lot of the pace, like we might start with a lead pretty early on, where a lot of these longer sets are very blow for blow in the beginning. This one is where a lead could emerge very quickly, and then the rest of the set is like really trying to eke out some sort of spy wins from it. So we'll see if that actually pans out. But agreed, the Tayan pick is strange to me. Kind of cool though.
But that the only
Definitely. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it is indeed strange, but the only other prediction we have to make, Slappy, is the one who's going to win, and Toboshi's name is first, so Toboshi's up first.
I know Rov has had the better of Miniorek for so very long, but Mini is playing so incredibly well this tournament so far. He's been improving by leaps and bounds lately. I think this is Miniorek's day.
I was actually expecting to be the only Mini pick, but I actually agree. Like the other thing with Mini is that Mini prepped extremely well last year for the SMC finals versus Opie. So Mini was actually the underdog in last year's SMC finals, and then had a convincing win. Like it wasn't a blowout, but it was a 4-game win over Opie, and just played extremely well and showed a lot of preparation. So I am picking Mini for this. I am anticipating that that could go the other way as far as that prep, because there might be more for Rob to prep. Like if you're coming up and you're just playing versus general opponents, you might not be just grinding in on pathing. But if I was Rav, I would be. Rav probably has been grinding in, really trying to get pathing down perfectly as spy. Sometimes players don't practice their spy motions as much. But honestly, if Rav really trains on that, that could be a huge liability. But that said, I feel like Mini has just shown the ability to really prep for these long matches. So agreed that it's gonna be something that's gonna be really close, but I'm giving the edge to Mini as demonstrating that they could win this thing last year.
And as for me, I mentioned that Minrak has struggled in the past versus Rav, and he has almost like this 3-year streak of not winning in a set versus Rav. But ultimately, what are the records? But other than targets do you have to break at some point? And I would agree with both of you gentlemen as well, and I think that Miniorek is a slight favorite. I preface the word slight very hard here, but I do think Miniorek is going to be taking the win here in these finals.
This is cool though. So now this is basically going to be like the people on the stream versus chat, because I will say that from viewing the responses that come so far, I won't reveal too much. Rob is the favorite easily. So just in case there's any doubt for the VOD or for the anything in the future, Rob is definitely overall communally the favorite in here, and I think each of us probably thought would be like the only one that picked Mini. But I legitimately I do actually agree though with both of you.
But in any
All
case,
right, and with that, I think it's time to get things underway, unless you have anything else to talk about before we get going.
If we talked enough, I think it's time to get the show roll going.
Starting things off on Aquarium, it's going to be Miniorek on the spy side first versus Rob Sniper. We expect to have a pretty explosive first few venues. But it's time to get this thing underway in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
If there's a silver lining for Rob, I think all of us picked Opie last year. So maybe the thing that we're gonna find out is just like whenever you see the three characters all across the same thing as the picks, that they end up winning.
Early pair of highlights on both Mini and Wheels here. It's hard to tell if that's just for statues or if there's a bit of a flirt pairing in there as well, but we did get 51% off of the flirt to open things up. One cycling at the statue as well, so just getting the one inspect out of it, but that's an interesting and pretty quick start coming out of Mini.
Yeah, agreed. And I like this little like statue straight to bookcases maneuver if Mini's going to be doing something with it. Looks like Shark's not really going to give us more. So, okay, just a little bit of waste of time. Maybe we were looking for an opportunity at some point there, but that's just like an odd thing to do, right? Spies don't normally like to go pick up a highlight and then go to bookshelves, because whatever you're doing at bookshelves is far worse with a highlight. Some of the other things you can do, it's not that much worse to be highlight, but like if you're going to take the book out, highlights worse. You're going to try to do an action test microfilm, having highlights just much worse.
Miniorek with some long paths around the back of the venue here for eventually landing in the bar to pick up the delegate. But bar has not been very busy this game so far.
Yeah, and interesting to note here that we have not yet even joined a conversation. Are we gonna jump into this one? We are. So we're not gonna be going for the 2 flirt on this one. It was unfortunate that there wasn't a spot next to Wheels for us to attempt that, because we're not like super far behind on pace, but this will be coming up a little bit. So I do anticipate that we actually will fire off this Purloin. Well, I mean, I say that, but they're really the bar would have to be filling up, or sorry, would have to be sent off pretty soon. So we'll see.
Wheels is wide enough that we probably could have gotten in between him and Rocker. Oh my, that's an interesting little move behind the Shark, just slipping straight through the conversation, sending Wheel to the bar. That is a very neat move.
Yeah, so something weird about this play though is that we joined our seduction. Oh my god, it expires right as he takes it. Oh my god, that is. I don't know. Actually, the thing is, I don't know if it was good or bad. I mean, it's gonna be bad for our pacing for sure, and if Minnie had the specific plan. But the awkward thing about that was he comes right back into this. This is a really weird setup. I wonder if Rob also, by the way, has noticed that we've switched sides with Wheels on this conversation. Okay, so we started next to Wheels at statue. Rob highlight both of us, and so there's not that many highlights on the map. And then we sent our other highlight to the bar. So intentionally on Miniorek's part to send a highlight to the bar to try to delegate, right? And then maybe just randomly Wheels goes picks up a statue and really puts pressure on Rob. But the weird thing is, because we knew we were highlight from the beginning, something like switching positions might be more obvious.
This bar visit is going to be pretty pivotal. We've got 40 seconds left to play. We've only got the 1 mission completion. We just pick up a delegate from this. I don't know if we're going to have enough time to finish this up. We're basically just going to have to send someone and go straight to an inspect swap in the back.
Yeah, I agree that we just need to do something here. Double agent not being available for this is really bad. We just got to send someone. Taft is starting to move around. They're not going to come into this conversation, though. We just got to bail out to windows. We got to do
Here's the
something.
send. 15 seconds.
Oh, I think we're just going to be willing to time out now, though. Like, I think we're just sending this and
Banana
just
bread.
hoping that there's a shot. We're going to banana bread, though. What is the...
That's not in time.
It's
That
not
came
even
off at
close.
8 seconds.
I find this finish so confusing. So we sent... I really liked the opening. And so, like, this really came down to the delegate not going off on wheels. Just completely messed up all of our pacing. Because we sent off the delegate to Seek, right? And then we fire off a fake banana bread while Seek's there. And then so the thing that's going to happen is if Seek is able to grab that purloin near the end of the end game, puts pressure on Rov to shoot. It's not Seek, right? We've just eliminated them, and that we're making Rov worry that he missed a purloin from somewhere. But yeah, after Wheels didn't take, I think we just got lost in that game. So that's not a great start for Mini, whose spy is excellent.
SpyParty is often a game of inches, and in this case, milliseconds, as we step back into Aquarium with Rov on the spy side versus Mini's sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And interesting that, like, in these kinds of sets, I would expect that the you actually take your time. Well, I guess I don't know. Some of them are kind of intuitive players. You should take the time to review. Oh, we are going to get this swap
coming out of Rov in the back statues on the left side behind the shark. Able to get one inspect out of it as well, but I don't know if Miniorek was able to get a look at that statue before Rov got back there.
Yeah, I can't tell. We're pausing for a while, and I don't know if we're worried about threat on Ambassador or if we're starting to parse out what's gone on with this statue. It looks, I mean, right from what we can see right now, it looks like we got away with it because there's nothing special happening to Ponytail at all. Unfortunately for us, we're going to be right before this this fingerprint comes off on Bar.
Yeah, not much reaction from Miniorek on the sniper side either once that statue became visible, so I think that was a pretty clean swap. There's a decent chance Miniorek is crediting it, but we will have to see going forward. Swap done, one inspect in pocket, and delegate ready to go. Also a green action test as we step in for the flirt, so that's 40% on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is gonna be okay. We do have a highlight for Path, maybe. Now I don't know if that's a delayed highlight for Path. No, Mini very much did not hide that highlight, by the way, or that motion, unless they were trying to make it seem like it was a low light when they went over there. So it wasn't an indication necessarily that we saw the swap, right? Like a late highlight on swap just at a convenient time. We very much moved our laser over there, so it looks like there's a bit of a pathing thing in there.
Another green test on the flirt. This brings us up to 91% as the seduction target steps away once again. Just under 2 minutes to play now. We have the swap, the one inspect, and the flirt almost done. So lots of progress. Still have the contact available, still have the bug available.
Yeah, and we need to make a decision on whether or not we're going to finish in specs pretty soon here. Well, one thing we actually haven't even talked about yet is whether or not Rav is willing to shark walk this. And like normally you shark walk a swap, so I would say this is not a great shark walk setup for a statue shark walk. You could do different kinds of shark walks, of course, but the classic one is going in for 7-second set inspects and swapping and walking with it. Oh, interesting little low light on general there too. So, but right now we're just kind of killing time, and I don't know why we are doing that with the kind of pace that we need to have with just doing a swap right away. Okay, we are going to join the DA though.
Yeah, lots of time gone. We did get the flirt done. We are in conversation with the double agent. There's the contact coming off. So all we need after this is one more statue visit, and that should do it. Here come the lowlights. That's 2, that's 3. And I think that's all Mini is going to get. So 3 lowlights off of the contact. And Rov just needs 2 inspects to finish this up with 40 seconds to play. Here we go. No, it's gonna be a bug! It's gonna be a bug on the way out! Safety off for a moment. The shark gets in the way. Does Mini take the shot? It looked like he wanted to, but he's changed his mind, and Rov somehow gets away with it.
That is shocking. So, you know what's fascinating about that is if we had tried to do a shark walk or something like that, we might have gotten shot because it looks like, okay, we lined up on the shot right as we were going in for the bug. And then we see that a pony just takes a normal path to the end there. And so we might have just had off on the mission count, right? Like we might have just think, okay, so I actually think they bugged there, but they might be going in for a purloin or something like that, right? Like let's say it's like classic Rob Spy would be you've contacted, you've seduced, and then you're just kind of waiting around, and then you kind of get forced into, okay, I guess I've just burned enough time, haven't done anything, I have to go bug and then purloin back to back just to get a finish in. So I'm very curious there if Minnie was just very certain of Pony and this held the shot because they didn't have the mission count on the swap, or if they actually thought that the bug hadn't happened.
Hard to say. But it looks like he just barely didn't get a good enough look at that bug to be willing to pull the trigger off of a AI-like path on the way out to the bar. So Miniorek, down by 2 after the first pair of games, back into the spy side of Ballroom versus Rob Sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, and Minnie really needs to come away with something on this map. Like just I'm not beyond it just being like the venue picks, which I would say are not going to be super important for these players. I think they're pretty good across all the venues that they're going to be matching in. But I think that Minnie needs to pull off something within this set because going down 4-0 is just going to be really disheartening. It's really a hard way to start off, especially if it's going to throw a lot of lack of confidence in your sniping. Because I really feel like he thought he was being really confident in his hold shot on Pony, and then just waited for confirmation, doing the right thing, right? But just missed that aggressive swap at the beginning.
Well, 51% on the flirt starting off at the bar, so that's a nice little pickup to start the game off. Sort of seeing if we can find a way into this conversation close enough to the seduction target to finish this flirt in 2, but it doesn't look like it's quite going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, and I also don't know what we're going to try to whip out as far as tech in this game. So hopefully the players are reviewing replays in between these games. I would assume so for a set of this magnitude. So even though Miniorek wasn't actually any threat and just kind of timed out at the end of that last game there, and if Rob might not have even known ever that the going across conversation shark play into delegate even happened, I would assume that they looked at it, right, if they didn't see it. So I don't think Minnie's going to do the same thing here again too. Delegate timer expires again. We don't even try to send anybody that time though.
So, did get a green test on the second flirt, but was not able to get close enough to the seduction target to get it done in 2. 91% is where we stand on that. And back into the bar we go to pick up yet another delegate. See what we can do with the second one.
And I'm curious if also, like, I don't think Rob is really going to put this much into it, but we are going to get the fingerprint off the drink at the very least. If Minnie just, oh, weird. That's an interesting path to. That's a double print. I'm curious about this. I'm assuming it's just the double print for the highlight, but the path was an interesting one. I actually don't know how great that path was. Really quick walkway too, but I think that part was actually legal.
Back into conversation with the seduction target. Should get this flirt finished up unless something very unfortunate happens. Also in conversation with the double agent here. Here's the contact going first, and the seduction target does step away from it.
Seduction target steps away. We're going to throw a low light onto General, who is one of the only other highlights in the venue, unfortunately. It doesn't look like we are like one of the prime problems, though. We really zoomed in, making sure that Duke doesn't bug here, I think.
Nothing coming off of the second delegate either. So we have the prints done, we have the contact done. We don't yet have the flirt done, though.
Yeah, no
Did
flirt.
have a bit of a moment with the ambassador there, but nothing wound up happening.
Let's see if we step in here and get anything. We are gonna finish this flirt. Oh, really, I just don't know what our last mission is gonna be. Like, we're just a little bit behind, just like trying to pace out what the finish is.
20 seconds.
Honestly, both snipers have had good control of the venue. Like, I haven't really felt like either of them has really
It's
panicked.
gotta be a bug.
Oh, and as I say that though, all right. So we were really worried about Duke, and I was curious about that one because we were just watching a non-highlight really close for that bug, and we were giving up so much on the rest of the map, sorry, the venue, that I was like, okay, that is weird, but it felt like we had guarded it enough that we were confident about it, right? So it seems like we didn't know from the very beginning. No, I just feel like that arm was pretty good. We just never really knew if Duke didn't bug there. And we were also watching for talks, maybe. Yeah, we were just so convinced it was Duke. And then Duke just gets a bullet, which, again, really surprising to get a civ shot like that.
It was a big gift for Miniorek as well because he was like desperately chasing the ambassador down for a crash bug at the end, it looked like, and it just never quite came to it, which is a very good thing for Mini. But now they have a chance to keep things level on Aquarium on the sniper side versus Rov's spy. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah,
And
so
if
now I'm trying.
Miniorek can get this done from the sniper side, that would be a huge relief after the first pair of games.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm starting to try to. It's. I'm trying to think of some of the predictions already so far. So we've had a civ shot. So we're I think the prediction level for civ shots is 4. To answer your question, I am not counting non-sent delegate drinks as innocent drinks. Um, because that's the way I worded in there. I'm realizing honestly the threshold for 20 might be a little bit high. I was mostly going to be whether or not we're going to be on other venues without that purloin. But it is post if they've already sent a purloin and they go back to bar, and there's no delegate option. Those are going to be innocent drinks. And we've had actually a pretty good set of spies in here, which I'm never going to be able to tabulate the teams in real time. But a lot of difference between them, different kind of play styles that are between them. I don't sense any like crazy character meta shenanigans coming up, but we'll see if that comes in later.
So we were able to get 51% off the flirt from the bar, now in conversation with the double agent. This has been a very slow start from Rov, 2.5 minutes to play, and all we've really gotten is this first flirt. We go for a second, but the seduction target bails on us because we've been taking too long.
Yeah, and this is looking really similar to some of the other games that I've seen from Rob on Aquarium. And it's unfortunate because I really actually liked how Rob played that last one. Like this is basically I think how Mini thought Rob was playing Spy in the previous game, and like the exact kind of like Rob like pace. Um, but because we just started with a mission and just went all out right at the beginning, the mission count was just off by just that one, that it worked out really well. We're not going to have that advantage this time, and we're going to have to do something a little bit more drastic, I think.
White test on the second flirt brings us up to 85%, under 1:40 to play. This is not looking good pacing wise for Rov.
Yeah, I mean that said, we did see just a civ shot. Just I think just off of banana bread. I can't even remember if we actually even finished that one up there. So I mean, it's aquarium. Civ shots happen. There's sometimes behind the shark you just have enough plausible deniability about a particular thing not happening, and so you actually jump in, just feel like you need to get aggressive. But we gotta have something. Like I want us to be able to take a stab at getting a mission completion just to force something, but so far no dice.
And it looks like Rov is heading off. Nope, it's a redirect to the bar. It looked like it was going to be a statue visit, but it's just into the bar. 45 seconds to play, and this is going to have to be either a straight take or a sent delegate. There's no time left to try to delay this.
Yeah,
30 seconds.
Let's see. So what's even like the play here? So double agent is in a conversation, so we're gonna do a walk away delegate. We're probably gonna have to do a green swap. I think that's what's going on here.
It is a swap. It is green as well. So green swap. We are going to get a pair of just
have
the
the
one
time ad.
inspect. He knows he doesn't have time to go get another set. 10 seconds to play. I think he's gonna have to hit a bug as well, but he doesn't go for it. With 3 seconds left, there's just nothing to play for except maybe hitting a green time ad. It's a white time ad, and it doesn't take in time. Miniorek holds the shot and draws things level coming out of Aquarium.
Yeah, and the thing is, actually, I liked what we were doing here at the end, as far as like this crazy aggressive play. I don't know how much Minnie was going to be paying attention to here, but we need to know how long it takes to get across venues. I like trying to cut it close and do this exact kind of play that Rob does, because I often find myself behind leg it. We had to time it at the window there. We had the window nearby, and let's say we had hit that bug. If we had hit that bug, I guess we could have flirted and sent in the same motion, but having all of that have to happen right all in sequence was just a little bit much.
So level out of Aquarium, 2 games for Rov, then 2 games for Mini. Now we go to a completely different venue, although still an occlusion centered one. Taeyen is going to be an interesting situation indeed, with Miniorek on the spy first in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, and also just fascinating that we had, it's even on spy sniper, but it's because there was 2 timeouts, one from each player.
Yep, split Shoji's here. Miniorek opening off the game in the back with a pair of inspects. And a highlight for his troubles. Nope. Okay, no bug. That's fine. That was a wild situation.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like you're imagining there, I think we're gonna have to be credited for the bug regardless. Which, I mean, on Taeyen is one of the better maps to be credited bug with if you don't have bug, because you could probably get bug later too. So it's it's actually probably the best. Maybe I don't actually know even what would be second. Veranda Terrace maybe, but bug is just really easy to get on this map. We're probably gonna be able to have another chance at it, but I can't imagine we're not credited at the very least.
Yeah. 47% on the flirt, though. Not quite in range to get it done in 2. Pair of inspects in the pocket, and credited for a bug. Still plenty of time to play here on Taeyen, so we'll see what Miniorek is able to make of the rest of this game. Looks like we're going to get our flirt done here at the blue bookcase, first things first. Not quite done. It's 97% after another relatively close green.
Yeah, and so Taeyen is also I've not actually seen Mini play Taeyen a lot. What's going to be curious about Taeyen as a pick from Rov is I actually don't know how good Mini's interesting path. I was just about to talk about Mini's pathing here, and it was just a very strange path back to so it's fingerprintable. Okay, that's why we're going back to this one. A very strange pathing. So like Taeyen is kind of like a chaotic pathing venue. I don't know if it's gotten figured out in a pathing sense of like what the kind of things you can grab are. So Rob's pick into Taeyen might have just been trying to nullify as much as you could the pathing advantage. We're gonna do back-to-back fingerprints, and we're gonna get these inspects. I actually had no idea this middle one was fingerprintable as well. Rob really needs to be on top of where these fingerprints are at, because this is a really interesting. We're gonna do a swap.
Oh my, oh my. Now all we need to do is chase down the seduction target and try to get this flirt done. It's going to be a quick drop into the back window to try to let our section target settle before chasing that down and picking up this flirt. Statue should be swapped any moment now. There's the swap. 10 seconds. Is Rov going to be able to get a look at it? Indeed, he is. Finds the shot onto Miniorek.
Yeah, so It felt like we might have had like up to 5 missions credited towards us in that one. But the fact that we had the slow shot there makes me think that okay, we must have only had like 4 on the credit. It's possible though that there might have been some fingerprint conflation in there with the bug, or we just really didn't think that they took that bug in the first place. Interesting finish. The other thing that they had to do at the end there is finding end of game shot on characters behind Soji with another one behind them is a little fraught. So it's actually good that he lined that up a little bit early because Minnie can kind of like try to move away and make there be a wrong shot on white behind him, but able to at least be on top of it. And it was an interesting and strange finish, right? It was a silent game. There was swap. It was a lot of statue play, and then seduction pretty much took place outside a conversation circle the entire time. Just very fascinating.
Even for a Taen game, that was a pretty wild one. Let's see what Rob is able to do from the spy side in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And finally, a spy shot. That's the first spy shot that we've had. Relaying back to the predictions, one of the parlays I think is that spy shot was the most common outcome, more than the other ones combined. That's not looking good so far. So parlay is in a little bit of shambles, but we'll see if that comes back. I have a feeling that these snipers have actually started to feel like they're getting back into a little bit more of a rhythm on that last aquarium game and this Taeyan game. So I have a feeling we'll settle down a little bit, and it's not going to be this crazy inversion where we're going to see a ton of spy wins.
Relatively slow start from Rov here, picked up 27% on the flirt, and is now just sort of chilling out in an innocent conversation at the back of the party. We might be able to get something off the ambassador if he paths to a couple of very specific pads, but he doesn't, so we don't try anything.
Yeah, and so with Tan, like this is the other weird thing about just Tan in general is with Tan, there's a lot of like seeing what the party offers you, and so you see what the Soji setup is. You see how characters are moving around near you. There's only these 2 main positions where there's a lot of activity in those 2 CCs. It's very predictable. The people, like the vast majority of paths and activity takes place in those 2 CCs, and so there's kind of like this threat level that you have to manage while not getting ahead of the pack. Like there's like 4 or 5. Like anytime there's like a spy going in, like it's all observable, it's all on the same screen, and you just try not to exceed the pack too much as far as level of flirts, something like that. We do pick up a weird highlight, by the way. Don't have any idea what that's for.
So a distant second flirt luckily came up green, so that puts us at 68% on the flirt. We are in range to get it done in 3 off of a close white test. Getting a fingerprint off the briefcase here as well is our first bit of progress that's not flirt, but we only have 1 minute and 10 seconds to play to find 1 more print, 1 more flirt, which we're getting right now, and then 2 other missions besides.
Yeah, and it'd be hilarious to me if the highlight was for something like an inactivity highlight. Okay, we do get the green purloin, so this is going to be the huge moment of truth here. I don't know timing. Oh, it's going to go to a low light we just took too. This is looking really bad.
Gets a good look at the fade. Is on top of the shot. Miniorek had that under firm control from start to finish. It felt like.
Yeah, absolutely. We got this, like we were in really bad shape when we had gotten our second flirt at 2 minutes left. Or sorry, second flirt at 2 minutes left. Done nothing for a long time after that, and then got marked suspicious before we got a fingerprint, finished the deuce, and went for the green purloin. Rob's play there kind of necessitated that we were not a target as we did that green purloin, but Mini absolutely on top of it.
And that leaves us even after the first 2 games of Taen. We've got 2 to go as Miniorek steps into the spy side against Rob's sniper once more in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
All right, we're choosing Wheels here. So Wheels, this is one of Wheels' best maps, I think. You do have to be really cognizant of where you are for your bug setups, but you can actually do some weird things behind here, especially with Purloin. You can be really, really confusing with offers as Wheels for Purloin, which is a little fun sometimes. You do have to, again, watch your angle on bugs because while you're low to the ground, what matters a little bit more most on Taeyan is having an arm that sticks too far outside of the group huddle that occurs in these conversation circles. Also, just by the way, this party, people stand really close to each other in these two circles. They're very clicky.
They are indeed. Look at the pretty extreme sniper angle that Rob is able to take here because there isn't really any activity at the statues. He's able to just tuck those right behind the wall so we can get a good enough angle on the ambassador to not have them under too much threat.
Yeah, this is one of the better setups for Ambassador being. This is kind of strange that the front conversation actually was not full on the front side. It's one of the very few times you can actually see back in that direction pretty confidently, with the Soji being on the bookcase side, and normally there'll be enough people in there on the right hand side of that conversation circle. I guess left hand from the sniper's position. To block that off. So we actually had a good defendable position for Bug. So I feel like Rav hopefully is feeling pretty in control of this from the sniper position, but that does mean that Minnie's going to have to do something. We've done nothing, so I feel like this has got to be a frame.
We've done literally nothing this entire game. We have sat in this spot, in this conversation circle, and not moved and never right clicked. There is zero progress on the board with a minute and 30 to play.
Yeah, and let's see what we're setting up for. So, again, like it for frame, we want there to be a lot more activity. Okay, so Kane is stepping in statues. I don't know if that's a completion inspect highlight.
Well, it's a fake contact, so
Banana bread.
Yeah, it's gonna knock him out. Okay, so Smallman is talking to the contact. It's gonna knock two highlights out, unfortunately. So Smallman is the only highlight. Oh, sorry, no, that's not two. Twin is also highlight. So we are one. Ugh. I think we are looking at teal though, mini as far as like a frame target. So we'll see.
it's certainly an odd game coming out of Miniorek. This is going to have to be a frame. The question is, how do we go about the last half of this? It's another fake contact, interestingly enough.
Banana
Yeah, this
bread.
contact is almost like a given, and actually, it's even better because the only person that's outside of CC is the SDA. So this is going to throw a little bit of flack in the air. But again, they need to do something, right? No Purloin coming off, and Mini, I think, is just going to do the straight timeout. I don't think we're even going to have a Purloin. Yeah, nothing. It's
There's
just
no
going to be a
time for
timeout.
it now. Yeah, I just think that the party simply was not active enough to make this kind of a play. It's a white watch check too, so not able to hit the green. Rob saw it coming, shot comes off. And that was a game where Miniorek came in with a game plan and was not able to adjust to the party not playing ball.
Yeah, unfortunate. But also, that was one where I actually don't mind the game plan. So, like coming into Taeyan, let's say, and you have, let's say, like, okay, one of the two games on Taeyan, I'm just gonna time out. I'm just gonna put it to them. I'm going to try to get like a low light or something, and just like completely time out on Taeyan. That's a viable strategy on Taeyan, but that was a really controllable party for Rav, and I think that Mini should have been able to recognize that. And also, Rav is actually pretty good on Taeyan of not taking those kinds of civ shots just out of nowhere. I say that after Rav had taken that kind of civ shot on Aquarium. But Taeyan, that just felt like a controllable setup. Not that many statue visitors, and we knocked out one of the only statue visitors. So that idea good. That particular game, I think we had to throw something out there.
I completely agree. Either way, one more game of Taeyan left to play. We've got Rov on the Spy versus Miniorek Sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And now Rob has a little bit of slack of their own to try to do something a little bit like more aggressive. So the main aggressive thing that we've seen so far of this set was the immediate white swap on Aquarium, and not that much has been really aggressive so far. Not that that's necessarily the wrong play. Sometimes it's better to kind of wait for a little bit more space, try to get something past. But I would like to see something aggressive out of a Rob on this one because we have that space and we can kind of put it to Mini a little bit more.
Opening very early on, right next to the seduction target, picking up 51% on the first flirt, and it looks like we're just going to see if we can get a timer flirt to get this done in 2.
Yeah, and the other thing that I wonder if Rob is going to be taking advantage of is Mini often gets a lot of pathing lowlights, as Wrestler mentioned at the very beginning, right? And not having a lot of lowlights makes it a little bit gives like a different options. So there's kind of like this difference between okay, we're gonna throw a fake banana bread out there. It's only gonna eliminate wheels. Everybody else is NCC. So there's kind of like the suspicion of the party altogether. It's just kind of like this general noise level of how much has just been happening for the maybe how uneasy the sniper might be just on like everybody doing lots. And then there's like the specific targeted suspicion that's distributed among a few different spies and their threat level. And so Taein is going to lean a little bit where there's just kind of like this general unease that any one particular spy, any neutral light could break out and get a couple missions back to back, and there's just gonna like these threats all over the place, and Mini's not gonna be able to mitigate that from getting a bunch of pathing low lights. Oh, that's a right before we're able to finish.
Not quite able to get this flirt at the blue bookcase, unfortunately. Seduction target does indeed wind up running away from us, but we do take a blue book out. So we'll see if we wind up actually doing anything with this, or if this is just sort of a delay book.
Actually, no. I was really hoping for a microfilm there because we seem to be calling out Mini on his position. We're gonna time ad though. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot as well. We definitely needed the extra time to play with, and Rav is going to run it all the way, sort of out and back to the back of the party and then back to the front, landing back in conversation with both the seduction target and the double agent. But the seduction target leaves again before we're able to get the flirt off.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we had a good opportunity to banana bread there for just a moment, but it's terrible now. It's a terrible banana bread for Taein now. There's so many people moving around, so that means we should also be doing something. So there's kind of like this reflex you can kind of cook in on Taein, where if it's not a good time to banana bread, it's a good time to do anything outside of conversation. Go anywhere else and get some partial progress because it's distributed amongst a bunch of people. If that's adding time, if that's getting one in specs, if that's going picking up a fingerprint, if that's setting up for a bug, something. Because again, otherwise you're just kind of doing this. You're waiting for double agent to fill back up again, and it's going to take a while before you're going to want to do it.
Speaking of getting partial progress, Rav has been spending a huge amount of time in this game right in front of the sniper with absolutely no cover. So finally now stepping all the way back to next to the seduction target here to finally get this flirt done. Does hit it in 2. So that's a nice little green test there. But with under 30 seconds left to play, even with that green time ad, this is not looking good time-wise for Rav.
Yeah, we gotta dump this book. Like I don't. Mini hasn't shown themselves like being willing to shoot. I think on like the level of like Taein. I mean, we'll see what happens. It's going down to 10 seconds, but like so far, both of these players have played slow, right? So why would you do anything else rather than we're gonna add time too late again?
Oh my god, it was.
Yeah, yep. The timing window on when we're doing that dump out. So by the way, this isn't just Rob. Both spies have been really scared of the other player's sniper, which is funny because I think we've seen more spy wins than we would expect so far. So there's been way more timeouts than spy shots, that's been predominantly the way in which the spies have lost. That's to me just showing like they're nervous about the other sniper, but I really feel like again, the one really successful moment for Rob has been taking that chance right at the beginning and just like pressing their luck. I think to me, like a short version of this is I think that this is finals energy, right? You just don't want to mess up. Like you are on the biggest stage that we have in Spy Party. It's for a lot of money. This feels like just nervous about trying not to mess up, and it feels terrible getting shot as spy. Um, Sometimes you can practice through it, but like when it gets there, I think they're just like really nervous, and it's just interesting to see because again, this is not like them to time out this much.
Yeah, they're definitely both playing a little bit out of character. So we'll see what they're able to do with it moving forwards, if they're able to settle in. But for now, we're tied at 4 going into Redwoods, our first non-doubled venue. Miniorek on the spy first against Rov's sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And this can be like this is a nice tonal change, right? Because Redwoods you can feel a bit safer, right? Like Taein is this weird venue because you feel both very behind cover, but you also feel super visible, right? Like the thing with Taein is also like the Soji gives you very little comfort in most positions unless you're going for something specific. It's mostly the conversation circles. Here on the trees, I think spies can just feel like there's enough plausible like visibility problems for the for the sniper that they can just do more. And then that comfort alone makes them play more aggressive. And I'm hoping that kind of shakes them into gear a little bit because I really feel like the snipers have been nervous too, and that the spies could really get something out of them if they go and press that gas pedal.
Nice early flirt coming out of Miniorek, 51%. Also in conversation with the double agent, but this is pretty early on to take a contact. We'll see what Miniorek winds up doing, but I suspect it's just going to be the timer flirt for now.
Yeah, and
Banana bread.
I stand
okay.
corrected. There's the contact coming off. What's the reaction from Rov? Not much.
Yeah, not much to get. So this is also something great about Redwoods. When the banana bird goes off, there's not much to get, but also it's really nerve wracking because you're like, what is the spy trying to cover up here? This game is looking just much better, right? And it's not even like we've done anything crazy yet. All we've done is finish flirt and done contact. But the fact that we're just being a little bit more aggressive, I think maybe we're going to start seeing a little bit more out of them. Ponytail is going to grab this. Yep, we are going to do this redirect. I don't think we're going to get rewarded for it, but we're going to use it as an excuse to get out of that conversation circle and look pretty non-suspicious doing it.
So contact done, flirt done, heading into the bar now to pick up what I assume is going to be a delegate, and indeed is a delegate. Still a minute and 30 to play, so Miniorek is doing much better time-wise so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's see what we like. So we have a whole bunch of options ahead of us. Oh, this would be a perfect time to bug. Oh, Minioric doesn't actually notice it because it doesn't seem like ambassadors in that kind of position. That's like, oh, of course, right now the ambassador should be being watched by Rob. But Rob was really worried about the other half of the venue. If we had gone for that bug, it would have actually been perfect time, especially to be able to like loop back around and kind of get out of there. But right now, Rob is being actually torn a little bit. We're going to send this delegate to an SDA.
Unfortunately for the bug situation, we had that drink in hand, which was causing us a lot of problems. It would have been really awkward to try to get that bug off. There's the purloin. I don't think Rov has seen it yet.
He was set up a little bit.
That's a
So like,
swap. Green swap.
I almost wish that was white. Like, I mean, okay, so the purloin, there's not much of a reaction. You're completely right. I actually can't tell if Rob has seen it or not. I was wasn't sure that he had because he seemed to be holding a position that could see both. Are we gonna
That's
bug?
so bold. I really like that move because it's pretty clear that no bug happened. Mission win is pending. Oh, the shot comes off anyways.
Did we the swap still haven't happened?
No, it hadn't.
Okay,
I think
so
I think you went there to try to stop the swap.
oh God. Okay, so fascinating finish at the end there. Well, so no. So we swapped the statue at the other position. So I think that what we were doing there was trying to show that we did not have bug, right? Like actually doing something that like, hey, I'm doing this action and I'm not picking up a mission for it. And we've been playing really slow so far. So by me showing that I'm not doing this mission, maybe I'm desperate and like I don't actually have that fourth mission in pocket yet. Um, And surprisingly to me, it seems to have caused Rob to really consider this as a shot. Actually, what I can't tell is whether or not Rob thought that maybe White was able to bug on the way in, and then the arm had come back down in time. To me, it looks like he was very specifically trying to look like he was not bugging, but that
Agreed.
timing of that shot is just weird.
Looking at it from the sniper side, it does look like there may have been a bug.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm curious about that as well because, like, okay, so on the right hand side, right, like maybe White starts the bug animation like really slowly, and like the hands returning back posture wise to middle could be timed perfectly with just the normal resting position for White's hands. So really unfortunate if Mini goes for this play to distract from the swap, but ends us giving us bug credit for something that we didn't need. Well, let's actually look at the. Sorry for dragging this on, but like the timing of the shot. When the timing of the shot was within 10 seconds of the possible bug, that would actually tell us a lot. So 23 basically. No, it would have been too late for the bug. So I guess because the bug would have gotten like, well, it would have been like right close to it. Yeah, it feels like it would have been too late for the bug if it actually was timed exactly to when the bug had happened. Unless we were trying to line it up earlier than that. But we would have missed out on it if that was the fourth mission. Could have just also been the swap call. This is fascinating, the game. We'll move on because I could just stay here and analyze it forever. But really close one there. And finally, a nice test for Sniper.
Maybe we'll get you back on a slow cast at some point. But either way, second round of Redwoods, Rov on the Spy versus Miniorek Sniper this time around in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
All right, so we're going to bounce around here, and we're going to keep trying to force ourselves next to our seduction target. We're not going to actually get what we want here. So this is actually an unusual start for a Rov on Redwoods, the fact that we're not next to our seduction target in the conversation circle right at the beginning, which means that we're probably going to be here and not talk. It'd be interesting if we get noticed for going to a conversation circle and not talking, but I don't think Minnie's going to pull that in the rotations, anything like that.
Yeah, especially not on Redwoods of all places. Not
Yeah.
much progress early on in the game. Most of our locations are just sort of in weird places right now. The seduction target is certainly not in a very open spot. So Rob is just taking it slow to start the game.
Yeah, but I am almost positive Rav is going to line up for a potential frame on our seduction target. Rav is really good at picking up frame targets on Aquarium and Redwoods, and I guess just probably most maps. This is where I've seen it before. And the fact that it's our seduction target, we're very conscious of the fact that our seduction target is done within specs. Actually went statue to books right back to back, which would be very aggressive for Rav, but that's going to be an issue. And whether or not we're actually going to do stuff like force seduction target out, like we could even see like a red test flirt here. Oh, we actually don't. Okay, we just go for normal flirt here. But I'm very curious if we send or pretend to be send delegate from Rocker later on in this game.
Our first bit of progress comes at 2 minutes, and it's 34% on the flirt. So it's slow, but I think you're right. This probably is going to wind up being a frame game.
And exactly what Rob was hoping was going to happen was happening, which because we noticed that the closest characters to Briefcase were us and Rocker. If Rocker didn't go get that briefcase, like let's say somebody else was going for it, we might have tried to go and grab it first. But Rocker also has a fingerprint. So honestly, I feel like we need to time add to get Rocker to get to do a couple more things. Like, okay, so it'd be great for Rocker to join
Oh my god.
conversation. So this is another. Okay, so this is interesting because we've already gotten something here. Are we gonna red flirt? No, we're just green
No.
flirting here. I keep thinking that we're gonna try to do something crazy on the frame here, but we are gonna grab this fingerprint here. Oh god, I'm really curious what happens with this because we've spent so much time looking at and participating with Rocker this game. It can't not come down to something that involves her.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that's the way this game is leaning. Rav is sort of just sitting and waiting for a moment to actually make the frame happen, but right now, time is starting to tick down pretty quickly. We're down to 30 seconds, and Rav has picked up the flirt to the point
If-
where it's now done.
If we get green, it could pull Rocker. This is a
It
very
very well
intentional
could.
play.
There's the green swap. Rocker is, I think, the closest AI to it, other than Duke, but Duke's hands are full.
Oh, come on.
5
I want
seconds.
this
It's not going to
so
come off
bad.
in time.
No, it's not. We're going to time out at the
It's a
end here.
white time ad, though. It's a white time ad. Dips
Okay,
into
so-
the bar as quick as he can to try to get away from the windows.
Oh god. Oh, that's right. You can't. Swap couldn't pull Rocker because it was a ST. Of course, right. Bummer. That would have been so much fun. So the swap does happen, and Minnie's actually in a really awkward position unless we were able to really notice Disney bailing out here.
Print on the drink, though, and the contact coming off. That's countdown. Did Miniorek understand what's all been happening this game? Indeed, he did. The shot comes off, and we are even coming out of Redwoods.
That was a super fun game. So, grats on Mini for holding it there. Just a kind of like an interesting setup because of how we kind of put that game together. Visiting the same statue multiple times, getting the fingerprints off of that corner where Ambassador kept going to. Good on Mini for being able to respond to it because I don't know if that swap ended up actually being in motion there, and for properly responding to the white time ad right at the end there. So just a fun game. I wonder what would have happened if that was green though. I actually don't know if it would have been better or worse because we would have had OT if it was green, but fun Redwoods games, and that actually looked a lot better to me than some of the spy games on Aquarium. I think they're a little bit more aggressive now.
Yeah, starting to settle in a little bit better. It didn't quite work out for them that time, but it came close enough to it. It was a near thing that game. Either way, we are tied at 5 going into a bit of a different situation. It's time for Pub. Any 3 of 7. Miniorek on the spy side first in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And this is an interesting ramp up, right? So we have Redwoods where there's all sorts of chaos available to the spy, but they do kind of still have to create it, but they feel like there's more for them to do. Pub is just far more chaotic. Now the thing though is Rav, the next spy game, is going to be in a bit of a timer because there's a lot of pathing lilies you can get through the door. I don't know actually if Mini is one of those that really likes grabbing those, but you kind of have to pick very carefully if you're going to try to frame someone, because sometimes you're just going to frame a random lily that got a pathing problem.
So it's a delegate off the top of the game from Miniorek, but it doesn't look like they're going to do anything with it. Right now, it's just innocent conversation out at the far end of the sidewalk. Can't get into conversation with the seduction target. There's no room, so we're tucking in with the double agent for now. Nope. Okay, a little bit of a redirect, but we did wind up here anyways.
Yeah, and this is
Here's
a good
contact.
banana bread for Pub for
Banana bread.
sure. And I don't think... Okay, it does knock out hair, though. I actually didn't even see hair behind the door there. Are we going to get that? Okay, there we are. So, okay, now it's like a more average. We are going to send Pony on the Purloin here. Oh, it's expiring, though. It wasn't...
Yeah,
right.
I don't think there was any intent for that to actually come off. I think that was just creating a little bit more movement.
And we're going to get our first flirt, finally.
Yeah, a little over a minute to play getting this first flirt. This is like balcony amounts of time remaining. But it is 51% on the close green, so we're able to get at least that. But with under a minute to play, we still need a mission, and we still need to finish this flirt.
And we're going to be going back into grab a delegate potentially here. And then we're probably going to be popping back out. Oh, is Seduction Target going to join us?
This is going to be a straight take. Nope, just a delegate. But with the seduction target stepping into statues, it's a lot less clear where this finish is going to come from.
Yeah, absolutely, because we cannot rely on seduction target being flirtable, and we'd have to get it green as well. So I feel like we are going to step in here. We'll send someone. Okay, we are going to immediately send Ponytail, as we must. And then...
Safety off on the twin! 10 seconds!
Oh god, they're going to come right next to us!
He doesn't talk though. There's our talk and leave, but we're not able to hit the green. And Miniorek was quite possibly a green test away from getting a spy win against Rov right there, and did not hit it.
Oh my God, there's been so many so they keep having these little plans that come that they have for these games, but the margins are so thin, and they keep missing those margins on it, and then they end up, what is that, the fifth or sixth game that we've had a last second timeout just out of desperation. Like we're constantly there's been, I want to say, like 80% of the games or something right now have had a timeout at like 0 seconds, or an attempt at one, because we've kept on being just a little bit too slow with our play, and also the party not lining up correctly. To be fair, like if Seduction Target had happened to join us at bar, that would have been fabulous. If we hit the green, we put a lot of pressure on Rob there at the end, but just barely missing all of these moments where we could do that for Sniper. It's been so close, and like so frustrating too. I've seen so many camera shakes out of Miniorek and Rob this set, much more than you normally see in any one given set, because they keep just barely missing out.
Yeah, it's tough, but the spies have been knocking on the door for a while now. The snipers have been holding, other than on Aquarium, but it feels like people are going to start breaking through at any time. Rov's turn to step into the spy side versus Miniorek Sniper. Last game of pub in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Oh God! Like, also it's stressful just just to watch. I can't imagine like being the players right now, where things just like aren't quite coming together. I was really hoping that after Redwoods it would be a confidence booster. But that said, Mini hopefully isn't losing like a lot of confidence in that one. That one really should have felt more like frustration, because they were just coming up short in some spots where they had a plan. It's not like they had like this vague idea and they couldn't execute on this larger idea, but it's like, okay, the SD was moving around. They hit a white test, and they bounced off the wall trying to go in for the last second time ad. That's just more frustration stuff. That stuff's fixable, and hopefully Mini's feeling that way still.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me if you've heard this before. Slow start from Rov. Hasn't been able to chase down the Seduction Target, isn't in conversation with the double agent. It's just sort of hanging out and waiting to see where the party is going to line up.
Yeah, and for both of them, I don't actually know if either of them really likes pub very much. But really, what you want to do is at least like kind of can get this on Terrace and pub. Oh, they seem to like Seduction Target leaving, which again is confusing to me, because it was a not a shake. I don't know if they are feeling like something's going to be available to them there. They're in this conversation with the double agent, by the way, but it's a terrible time to contact. Maybe it'll get better in a second.
Already down to 1:10, though. No flirts, no progress at all coming out of Rov. This is another situation where this kind of just has to be a frame game at this point, because he is not in position to even desperation finish missions at this point.
Yeah, and Mini's starting to pick up those low lights. So this is the problem I was mentioning at the beginning of last game. We're gonna get this green flirt, but it's cross conversation circle. Okay, so all right, we should be identifying the fact that we're not
red.
finishing here. Are we just gonna send ourselves? I feel like we're gonna do something like we could. Unfortunately, Wheels didn't come up next to us. We even have a low light. Sorry, a highlight. This has been the multiple times where we've been like one of the least active spies.
That's a highlight for real, is what that is.
Yeah, and we still pick these up after like not getting anything really done. Okay, we're probably gonna bug on our way out of here, and then just like try to do something else. We have to do this.
There's no time. There's 10 seconds left. What's the other mission we're going to get to? It's got to be time had.
No,
5 seconds.
It's too late,
yeah, we're not moving. There's nothing happening here. That's
and
a timeout. Mini holds the shot, and we are even at halftime.
We are in a way that is extremely strange. I mean, I'll throw it over to Wrestler, but very weird first half of the set.
Yes, thank you, gentlemen. And I guess there's only one word for this entire first half. That would be nerves. The spies, you would expect Rav spy to be slow, but not throughout the entirety of the set. I would expect at least either will be somewhat. As if it was a regular game, I think they would be a lot more proactive. But being this is an SMC 23 finals, both players are understandably nervous. Nerves are all time high, and the only confident game that I could even show for it is the second one where Rob got a spy win with a very aggressive start. Let's go ahead and play it. Realizing immediately from his perspective it's a top shark and running over towards the statue. Just kind of saying that no one is going to memorize the statue immediately, and that's the kind of aggressive play that we didn't see basically this entire set. And moving on later as well to this bug here before mission cooldown, that's the power of the swap. I think that Miniorek was ready to shoot for a bug. We even have that safety off, but it was we just don't have that swap at the very start. That throws up our mission count, and thus Miniorek doesn't shoot us, and that's we get away with a spy win. And if both players are going to need to start doing these plays more and more, since as we saw, the respectful spy play has not worked. It's either been too slow for desperate time at, or it was just caught red-handed. So I just think we're gonna have to see some more extravagant plays, I would say, I guess. More bold plays coming out from both of these players. There's still a lot of set to do it in, but the venues coming in are... we just moved on from the three most of the occlusion. I would say the three most spy favorite venues have already passed. So I'm wondering how these bold plays are going to be playing out, for example, Courtyard or Library.
And Courtyard is very much a place where you absolutely need to be doing interesting, non-standard things as the spy if you're going to be getting it done. But Library, you have a little bit more wiggle room just because the sniper can only see 1/3 of the venue at any given moment. We are going into Library next. It is a 5 of venue. Miniorek is starting things off on the spy side, and Miniorek is probably the worst offender as far as the nerves are concerned. We'll see if they're able to settle in a bit more and start moving a bit quicker on the first 5 of venue of the night. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Something that is nice, though, is every once in a while we do see finals where one player it has nerves or just doesn't follow together and like just falls apart, and the other player just swoops in, gets confident, and just completely sweeps away. It feels like both players have been nervous, so we have this like even set where it's two people that are still like coming to terms with like the fact that they're playing for $1,200 on the line here, and it's nice, right? They're kind of in this together. Like I am sure that after the set, regardless of how it finished, there was like a group chat about how horrible it probably was to be in this situation. Because I could only imagine, like, it's like even in like the basic league sets that I've played in, the nerves are incredibly high, and then in this, on top of that, and against like an incredible sniper and luck's not going your way, it's got to be so stressful.
Yeah, absolutely. Another slow start from Miniorek. Took a little while for Seduction Target to land in a flirtable place, and Miniorek wasn't doing anything up until then. It's not the closest flirt of all time, but it was a green for 37%.
Yeah, and so something that's going to be interesting here about Library, playing back to the to aggression and whatnot, is so at first Library seems like, oh, it's any 5 of 8. This is a terrible spot to be in, given the fact that we've seen timeouts, we've seen slow play. The thing about Riot Library is spies bake that into their spy play for the most part, and it just gives them license to be aggressive. Like if you lose like 15 seconds into the game because you just go for an immediate bug because you know that the winning coalition of missions for you is something like getting away with something that the sniper doesn't credit you for, and then maybe just like finishing with credit for 4 missions, et cetera, et cetera. It gives you a license to be aggressive. If you lose a game on library being aggressive, that's an admirable loss. We're gonna have a green time ad here. That's gonna help us out a little bit.
Yeah, adding a little bit of extra time to the clock is always nice when you've had a slow start, especially as slow a start as this. We do have a green book in hand, though, and we've been spending a lot of time over on this blue side of the venue. So either we're going to dump it back in blue, or we're probably going to head all the way back to yellow and put it back there. But maybe no, it looks like he's just going for the flirt here. So second flirt. That's a green, but it doesn't come off in time. The seduction target steps away at the exact wrong moment. And Miniorek is now left a little bit stranded. So we are going to dump this book in yellow. Does Rov know where it came from? It doesn't look like he's certain.
Yeah, not certain. He lingers there for a second, maybe just trying to remember if that person saw it. So I would say that indicates the fact that we lingered there for like half a second to register generals at yellow bookcase and then moved back, because that was the only thing really happening on that side of the venue at the time, means that either Rav is fairly certain that a microfilm happened, and that we have to be tracking general, or we are just remembering, okay, if General walks away, it's with the yellow bookcase, and didn't actually pay much attention. We do seem to be lingering a little bit towards to General right now, though.
Second flirt, another distant green, brings us up to 69%. So we're going to need to get nice and close for this last one to make sure we get it done in 3. Only 2 minutes left to play, and the only thing we have done other than our flirt progress is transfer microfilm. So we still need 3 other missions besides, and we don't have progress for any of them.
Yeah, so obviously the green time ad is something absolutely that has come up as necessary for us. We're going to go for this fingerprint here. We are going to win the race, but obviously we have a lot of time after this to still make up for. I wouldn't mind seeing actually another time ad, just because I think we're going to need it if we're going to want something convincing.
Yeah, I think so too. Minute and 25 on the clock right now. 1 print, 2 flirts, and the transfer microfilm in pocket. This will get the flirt done. So that's 2 missions down, but with a minute and 10 about to play, we might just have to take this purloin, and he doesn't.
He doesn't, and unfortunately right now, our seduction target's taking the spot that could be useful for going over and grabbing a time ad real quick. There's going to be this purloin take here. Rav is really trying to get a look at it, and actually it's very frustrating for Rav right now because they cannot quite see it. They're still trying to find this. They finally see it, and then big sigh of relief, I think, from them right there, that there wasn't like a finish going on during the time. Although it seemed like they were pretty confident that there wasn't a 5th mission out there. Our seduction target's being very active, and we have an opportunity maybe here if this is green. That's a great start. Like, hopefully we get enough bounces on this. So it's going to go to wheels first. Wheels first would be actually really bad for us right now. Hopefully there's one more reject. There is going to take.
Wheels takes it. I think he might have seen the fade. Indeed, I think he did. Either way, the shot comes off pretty confidently, and Rav is able to pick up yet another sniper win.
Yeah, you know what ended up being too bad is if we had taken that earlier Pearl, let's say we got that green, it kept being in really awkward spots for us that we would have stressed out a little bit more seeing the list gone, and maybe something like our seduction target getting shot would have happened. But yeah, I mean, we were doing something in there. We had a path to finish. We probably could have bugged and gotten a fingerprint at the end there or something. Contact was probably going to settle into a conversation, and we could do that. So there was a plan there. There was something that could come together. We probably wouldn't have had to do a last second time ad because we were so far away from finishing.
Rav once again up by 1, but needs to break through on the spy side. And on a 5 venue, the way these guys have been playing, it's not looking super likely. But we'll see what he's able to do with it in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And so again here we are requesting a drink right at the beginning. Oh, it's gonna be a white.
There's the early purloin.
Get out of there! Get out of there! Get out of there! Just get out of there! Get out of there! Get out of there! Oh, okay. We're gonna play it cool. So I don't know if Minnie's seen this yet.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he has. Toby's still highlit. Not a lot of. There's the low light on Toby, so we'll see what the reaction is here. But it doesn't look like we're getting a lot of low lights. We definitely got one, but I think Rov snuck this in early enough that it caught Mini out.
It's very possible. And so the other fantastic thing that happened there is that we might have gotten in a green, right? So because we didn't see it right on time, it's not like we are saying, okay, somebody got. It's not so early that we caught it that, and we didn't see the offer or something like that. We're like, somebody got a white test, which would mean you'd be able to have strong lowlights on a bunch of people in the venue. It was delayed enough, apparently, in recognition that it could have been a green walk away and then go somewhere else. So it really limits the response that Mini has. That said, normally under these kind of circumstances, early purloin at all on on library or veranda creates this awkward. Okay, we are going to get this contact out here where the lowlights. There's a decent number. Curious if Irish is going to get one. Irish does end up picking one. But now the thing is, like, we only have so many things to look for, right? Minnie just has to be watching people that go to statues, who go to ambassador, go to microfilm, and that's kind of it.
Looks like there was a bug attempt on the back of the contact. Didn't wind up taking and didn't wind up getting caught. So I don't think anything is going to come from that, but it did definitely almost happen.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to be going for. I don't actually think. Is this fingerprintable? Because I don't.
Yep.
Yeah. There we go. Because I was like, I don't think we should actually grab. We don't think we should transfer this game.
Yeah, just picking up a print off of the green bookcase at this point. No flirts yet. Still 2 minutes and 30 to play, but usually you've gotten at least one flirt by this point.
Yeah, so this is another kind of like first across the line problem where if Minnie is really nervous about that purloin, Minnie actually really might shoot the first person that possibly could be done with missions, but that's actually really hard on library, of course. So it's whether or not we can kind of measure our pace, so that we're not the top suspect, but that we're picking up mission progress, so that we're not being just stared at the entire time, while still being able to get some stuff done. Because Minnie's just gonna be so aware of the fact that there's gonna be this threat going on because the purloin and banana bread have already come off.
Like that, there was a little bit of a shift in the path to be farther away from the ambassador there. Picking up a briefcase to finish up the prints. So that's contact, purloin, and prints done. We're going to have the flirt credited almost certainly, even though we have literally no progress on it yet with 1:30 to play.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the bigger tests for us. So presumably, it'd be nice for Rob to avoid statues. So it'd be nice to finish up Seduce and make another stab at Bug to finish out this game. That seems like the strongest play for us, if we can shake it. We are gonna have to leave this conversation though, make this flirt actually happen. We can't rely on seduction target moving. We really need to be the instigator on this flirt.
Yeah, definitely a weird decision going across the conversation from the seduction target instead of right next to them. Winds up with a green flirt that's only worth 37%. And under a minute to play now, it looks like we're going for a timer flirt for an across conversation situation. So that's not ideal.
Yeah, and that's going to really throw problems into the whatever the last mission is going to be, right? So we're going to be able to get this for, and I'm presuming we actually are going to move right now. Like once we stop talking in here, we're actually going to have to pivot out. Okay, here we go. We go somewhere. There's nothing to really do in
green
this.
Flirt, by the way, thank goodness. So that's 75% on that. Under 30 seconds now.
We're waiting for the seduction target cooldown timer to go down because, like, right now, sometimes, oh, and right as that happens, Boots leaves. We got to bug on our way. We have to bug on the way here. No. We got to bug on the way there. We can't be doing this. We can't be chasing across the venue like this with bug. All right, we're gonna have to swap.
He's gonna have to go right to either windows for a green time ad or statues for a swap. It's gonna be the statues, but there's no time for it. The timer runs down, Miniorek holds the shot, and we are once again even coming out of the venue.
That is really just a bummer in there. So I think that we probably were going to get shot in OT for that one, regardless. I don't see how we were going to be planning to finish that one. I think we're just like tunnel visioning when we're getting down to the end of these maps. We're only seeing we're seeing the next step in our plan rather than seeing the multiple steps that we need to finish as fluid in whichever order. Because like in the aquarium game, where we needed to have both a time ad and a couple other things, and we decided to go for the first part of the thing chain first, which was get one of the missions done. But we still actually needed a time ad in there or something to come together. We got to just be seeing it as a fluid ball because we just don't have time to be doing these other things at the chain at the end there, and it just keeps happening that we get timeouts right at the end where something is happening at like 0 seconds. So again, we're so close. We're so close to having these interesting finishes that put Mini on the spot. I'm sure one of those finishes would have broken through for a spy win, but we're just missing those on the margins.
Yeah, it's a shame to see because so many games have just been like half a second, 2 seconds too late. It's just barely not coming off in time for both players as well. More for Rov, but for Miniorek as well. It's just not quite happening on the spy sides. Let's see if Miniorek can make something happen on a venue with a bit more of a lenient clock. It's high rise, any 3 of 6 with no inspects and no swap. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
All right, so yeah, we have microfilm on for our selection here, and we're just going full statueless. Now, statues still obviously come into play for fingerprints, but it also kind of it makes a certain kind of like sniping play style viable. Okay, so we are going to start off with the green flirt. So now this is unfortunate because like in that last set on library, that's one where again you have your back against the wall and you can play a little bit more aggressive just because you're forced to by the nature of the venue. On high rise, it's actually viable to really take your time and honestly even time out. So we'll see if they switch it up or not, or kind of play like they have been, because this map venue suits their play style better than what they have been playing on so far. We're gonna miss this fingerprint though.
Yeah, my guess is they're just going to keep sort of playing the same general style because this venue is so much better for this play style. That's the 2 flirt, by the way.
Yeah, we'll have something in there. So now it's the kind of like guessing game also of, let's say we're the first potential soft tail. So if we go like center statues and contact, oh sorry, no, I can't center statues. That's right, we don't have that available. What's the fastest thing? I guess it's bug and contact. So we don't have the dare option. So sometimes if you have inspects on, you can just do like the dare to shoot. Like, did I green flirt, green contact, and get 3 inspects in, and I'm obviously the first finisher. But do you believe it? We are going to get this fingerprint here. We are going to get a highlight for it though, even though it's just difficult. So we are going to be on the radar regardless.
So print on the blue bookcase.
Yeah, but what do we do from here? So there is going to be the potential fingerprint on the other bookcase, which is also going to give us possibly some transfer credit conflation, but don't think that that's actually going to be a problem for us here. We need to wait for the DA to do something. How's the rest of the party looking? The fingerprint's been a little bit scattered, I think. I don't think anyone's finished fingerprint, but Queen picked up that fingerprint before. I don't know. Oh, what's that? Boots. I think the highlights are her fingerprint so far.
Little over 1 minute to play. We've done the flirt. We have a print. We do need to figure out where this last mission is going to come from, though. That's always the struggle on these places, is where do you get this last mission? Lots of prints available. Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
lots of prints available.
A lot of, like you're saying, a lot of prints available.
I
We're
don't
gonna go
think that's an available print, but it did net us a low light.
Yeah, agreed. Like, we very obviously went for the one not.
Oh my God, that's
no,
a print.
there was a print. We blasted. Oh my God. I am shocked that there actually was one on there. I don't even know when we left that one on there. I guess I was not paying attention in that window. Man, there's been a ton of prints on this map. I'm just surprised because there was prints on green bookshelf, blue bookshelf, all 3 of these statues. They've been leaving briefcase. There's just been a ton of
This is just
prints.
going to be a contact win.
Banana bread.
At 11 seconds. He's not going to shoot a low light. That was just a ridiculously silly amount of prints, and it caught Rov out. Miniorek picked the right ones.
Picked the right ones, got it in there. Finally, okay, so this is the first notch also on the predictions for number of times the spy ends the game with a low light, which I honestly should have put at 2 or more. So we get one pass there, and again, like exactly like you were saying there at the end, it really just came down to okay, who was actually finishing the prince in here, and Rav making the decision to hold. By the way, I think they flashed on Pony,
Of
but
note, Rov in chat saying he fathomed a no talk between Queen and Alice in the front conversation. So was aware that Minnie was finishing Prince, but was just low lighting him, so he didn't have to think about it.
interesting, interesting. So yeah, ton of motion in there, and so I think we had good track of the prince then across the venue, and just like thought that like okay, we haven't been finishing missions in this thing, so I'm just gonna wait for OT. And so like the also the timing of the banana bread just happened to be at like 10 seconds left, which was actually because we went straight from finishing the print into a conversation with Double Agent and contacted, but it probably felt like trying to force a shot, right? It felt like we were actually doing something where we were saying that somebody else has finished in here. Don't you want to take a shot and try and bait it in there? So
Yeah.
finally, I think this was not only well done for Miniorek for doing that little pathing thing and getting a little lucky with the no talk thing here. It's just a solid way to finish up this spy game.
And that gives Miniorek his first lead of the match. We'll see if they can convert on it as Rob steps into the spy side of High Rise 3 of 6. This time, no microfilm and no prints in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, so a little bit of an inversion of the last game in there, because actually that's another fascinating thing about that last game is that Ambassador really left a ton of prints that game, like just so many, and that doesn't always happen on High Rise to that extent, where Ambassador's moving that much and going to not ever like sitting in the back conversation for a while. So um, not a bad like if you could repeat that Amba decision making, you would take prints a lot more on this map. So uh, we'll see what happens in here. I'm curious if if he's gonna keep track of like the missed possible prints that would have happened if Fingerprint was on.
Well, we shall see. It's going to be an early green flirt at the painting here, so 51% off of that.
Yeah, and you know it's we actually got a little lucky there with that seduction target at the pad. It was very close to another time where Seduce was going to leave before the flirt finished at a pad there, which would have been extremely frustrating for Rob. But we finally hit one, so hopefully Rob is feeling a little bit more confident now that we finally gotten one of those things that we want, which is Rob really wants to get something at those pads. So we can just go right up next to our seduction target again and finish flirt.
Indeed.
Banana bread.
There's the real contact coming off. A very good one as well. I think that only lets off the 2 lowlights.
Yeah, two
One,
lowlights. Distribution of the seduction targets, or sorry, the double agents was good.
second target drops in again to say hi. So this isn't a super close one, so we're not going to be able to finish it here. The green test does come off anyways, brings us up to 84%.
Yeah, we might have a little bit of threat here with Smallman. If we talk one more time next to Smallman, we might get accidentally paired with them. There's a race for the briefcase that's extremely close. Like when when races are that close for briefcase, I often just feel like one of the two of them is a spy. So that was a really, really close race. I don't know if anything's going to come from that because we're just going to not care about it because it's like, well, I just won't really mind because there's no fingerprint anyways, so whatever. But just curious to note there.
And
One thing
there's
about
the
this,
timer flirt, getting the flirt finished up in 3. So that's 2 missions done and 1 minute to find the last, but it's a bug immediately. I think he was zoomed in on the list. I think he was zoomed in on the list and the bug was completely clean. There's a highlight for it to credit, but Rob is able to answer back with another spy win.
yeah, and what a confident and great play! Like he was completely on top of when that timing was for the purloin. Because something about the this setup right is transfer and fingerprint being off means you have certainty about your methods of finishing. You can instigate the finishes for all of these very quickly, right? You can go bug the ambassador I guess contact and seduce are the ones that rely on some outside luck, but you can go inspect, you can force that issue, you can force the swap, you can force the purloin. And I think that Miniorek really felt like Rob is going to purloin in this situation because it's just an easy way to get your flirts done, do your contact, like, oh, not really go for a bug because that would be me instigating it, and rather just be stuck with a purloin mid game. And Rob just plays against that type, goes for really great bug timing. Yeah, just absolutely fantastic. And then like mini notes on the end of it. Red could have bugged on their way through there, but just didn't really feel like they had the other parts done.
So, the first spy win in quite a while. Miniorek finally finds themselves the lead, and then Rob snatches it right back. We are even at 8 going into Modern in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, shocking, by the way, how few spy shots we've had. Even though snipers have been dominant, so few spy shots. The parlay is cooked. I can't believe how many just timeouts we've had as far as our distribution of conditions here. We're gonna get this nice green flirt with red, and actually just kind of like a nice scattered party. Like they're just kind of like it's as if they decided to go to the exact outline of the outside of the map, do something before coming in for a conversation. We're like the only people in conversation at the beginning of this game.
Yeah, absolutely. So 51% on the flirt to start things off is very nice. I'm hoping that pair of spy wins will help relax these players a little bit, get them start playing more on their game from the spy sides of things rather than taking the amount of time that they have been. But we shall see.
Yeah, and there's going to be temptation here. So I think right now we just kind of want to just do this timer flirt, go for this 2 green. Unfortunately, we do not get it. I don't think that's a huge deal, but would have just been felt good to be able to do that and never worry about it again. But there's plenty of time here, of course. We're going to stepping into this conversation, maybe setting up for a bug or something on the way out of this. Maybe just like a quick fingerprint later if the bar isn't full.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's 85% on the flirt. Any flirt, as long as it's not red, will finish this up at this point. There's been a decent amount of bar activity. It's never been a big rush for the bar, but it's been sort of steady 2 or 3 people at the bar throughout pretty much the whole game here so far. So Miniorek, well, there's a little bit of a briefcase race there.
Yeah, and we're gonna go back to this spot. So Meteor. Oh well, actually, we get bailed out with our decision here by Red joining us across the conversation circle. Exactly what we need because we're super far away from everyone. That actually was like perfect. That's better than the seduction target coming close to us because we could just do this extremely like benign. Backwards facing flirt where there's like nothing in there. We really seem to want something from that bar rush. It seemed like we were waiting for a fingerprint and that we were positioning ourselves close to the bar so that if we saw people like let's say like no one really followed up in the fingerprint and we saw people coming from across the venue that we could beat them in the race to the bar and still kind of be part of a crowd that was getting this fingerprint, but nothing really came out of it because like a bar rush came right in beforehand and kind of disrupted all the fingerprints that were available. But now it looks like we are stepping in to maybe throw something in with this purloin, and we're going to step away after we get the delegate.
Yeah. Step in, grab a delegate, step out. Just make it as quick and easy as possible. I think he was trying not to be even seen at the bar.
Interesting. If we send we didn't quite do it fast enough to throw confusion in there. There's a really weird path out of I can't tell which twin that is. Out of that twin where we looped around, looks like we were redirected something, and it looked like it could have been sort of a weird send. And that, in fact, Rav comes over and pivots to make sure that it's not one. And we are going to be sending this off on here. Now, this has been late enough that that bar rush that we saw earlier, I think that they would have timed out by now. So I don't know how good Rob's timing window on this purloin is going to be.
Well, this is going to be the purloin coming off. It looks like he was sort of following Alice through that. So we'll see what the reaction is. We've gotten a couple of lowlights.
Yeah, here come the lowlights right now, and yes, definitely throw that out right at this timing window because it's also just really uncomfortable to be looking somewhere else whenever it goes off. I do think that we were in the possible pool of suspects. We happen to be right next to General, so General came and joined us, which is pretty nice. Kind of makes it seem also like this is actually I didn't even think about this, but it seems like General is doing the flirt play on us, so now General looks extremely suspicious.
Timer very low. We're into the blue bookcase. 10 seconds to play here. This is going to be a really tight finish. It's just going to be a bookcase to bookcase slam. Lots of cover for us. I don't know if he's going to get a good look at what this is, but overtime comes off. The shot flicks over, and Rav is able to hold from the sniper side.
That was closer than it looked. I really don't think Rav was expecting that play right there at the end. And like I think so. Let's set up the pieces. I think Rav was really worried about Seek in general at the front of the conversation there. Maybe made a note that Pony was back there with a blue bookcase and kind of said like, okay, I have to be aware of the fact that Pony could do a dump over to green bookcase for the finish right at the end of the game. And then went back to protecting and watching what General and Seek were doing. And I think missed the initial part of that transfer, but then rotated around, saw that Pony was in there, just was careful to clean up their endgame conditions, and came over for the shot onto Pony. That was fantastic on both sides. Really liked how we put that one together, and just came through on Rov's side.
Rav back on the spy side against Miniorek Sniper. It looks like Rob in the chat being very kind to us to give us these insight. Looks like that actual slip into the bar, grab the delegate, and get out again, that came off cleanly. Rob did not see Mini at the bar. So we'll see if Rob is able to get any similar sorts of shenaniganry done here on Modern. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And something really nice there, though, is that actually shows some meticulousness of your sniper, right? So the fact that Rob found the sniper win at the end of that game just shows discipline around your end game scenarios, right? Because a lot of people, if you have your top suspect and you're pretty sure like, I think it was like Seek in general looked like the people that we were looking at the most at the end there, and you start getting into overtime, you just panic and shoot the top suspect. But you need to have like this reflex to think of end game scenarios and to check your corners, so to speak, right at the end of the game, rather than just being like, oh, okay, I just need to shoot somebody who's the best person. Oh, I've been watching Seek a lot. So just great discipline there to be able to find Alice, who's even hidden behind that conversation circle. So we actually rotated to make sure that we could see who would actually be in that end game position. So just nice, meticulous play after what has been kind of like shaky play on the other side. So I think they're starting to feel themselves now. This is feeling more confident. This is feeling more like what we expected.
Rov drops into the statues to open up the game, interestingly enough. So it does get a highlight for that, but also grabs a pair of inspects. So this is just a pretty routine statue tracking highlight, I believe. We'll see what, if anything, comes of it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be routine. We are gonna be get this nice green flirt at there, and like this is where it's actually starting to work. This is what Rav likes, is flirting at a pad right before the seduction target walks away, so that then Rav can kill some time and go join them back wherever they were. It's exactly this, right? So we saw this not working out in the first half of this set, and if Rav is basing a lot of their pace on that exact kind of maneuver of join at pad just before they leave, get the flirt before they leave, follow, and then you have like that little chunk of like 60-70% almost guaranteed flirting in there. We don't see a lot of those timeouts if those were hitting earlier. So this is also a great indication of Rob, because this is the comfort spot for Rob.
Yeah, important distinction. Rov goes to the opposite end of the conversation when he goes for that second flirt. Was able to hit both greens, and that brings us up to 76%. And probably not flirt paired at this point because of the conversation and positioning. And all it means, we're going to have to take one more flirt later on. We do have the 2 inspects as well to go with it, and a little under 2 minutes to play. Here's a fake contact, actually.
Banana bread.
Oh, it was not intentional. It was not intentional. I'm almost positive that was part of sending action test priorities. I'm pretty sure it was action test priorities. I could be wrong about this, but it really seems like we were not trying to get that contact in there. And it's just a really strange contact, though. So it lets off a ton of lowlights, which is really weird, because I was just about to make the comment that Miniorek actually hasn't got that many pathing lowlights relative to the other times we've seen him on Modern. So like, this is a bad indication for Mini. So now I don't know how how Mini's going to respond to this, because it was really just a strange time for the contact to go off altogether.
Flirt done at this point. That's, oh my god, that's a lot of lowlights.
Yeah, and so hopefully Rob is able to piece. Okay, so like, what do you do if you let off a random banana bread? Okay, so you probably not gonna have a good idea of who was
Banana
in and who
bread.
was out because you weren't trying to intentionally do it. Throwing another banana bread there is almost certainly gonna have to happen. I was worried that
Banana
maybe
bread.
Pony was gonna get shot for
Banana
like
bread.
a green
What
bean.
is
Oh, he's just doing banana breads. All right. At
Banana
first, I
bread.
thought that maybe
Banana bread.
Ponytail gets shot by doing like a bail on there, and
Oh, that's
unfortunately, this is not going to work.
interesting.
Yeah,
So, contact, 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 pause, contact, banana split. It was an interesting little maneuver to try to get himself to look out for that last contact, but Miniorek is on top of things, sees the split to the statues, and just takes that shot pretty cleanly.
yeah, and it's too bad because we had that nice little start there, but the delegate accidental delegate missed contact just kind of threw everything into a wrench. So it seemed like I agree. We were just like throwing a bunch of contacts out there. We really needed to not be one of the only highlights, of course, on the map, or we do. Yeah, one of the only highlights. No, the only highlight of the map. So that if we just keep throwing banana breads out there and then we ditch for the last one, maybe we can go do an inspect swap play or something. But yeah, not a bad idea. If you didn't know what was going on because of that banana bread, you can kind of cobble together something weird and hopefully it works. So I actually don't dislike that play because we didn't really know our position because of how awkward the banana bread was.
4 venues left to go, and we are tied at 9. Ballroom is the next destination as Miniorek steps into the spy side versus Rov's sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Also to note here, the players are probably starting to get mentally tired. So I think they're really nervous at the beginning of this set, where they're like, having like this agitation, frustration around how the games have been going in some of the spy games, and then just like nervous, agitated energy. I think that also at some point they're going to start getting drained. This is for
That's
a
a
lot.
bug! That's a wrong arm bugger on the way back of the conversation.
It is, and also at the same time, I think we're also worried about Pony possibly getting a bug on their way into that same position. Okay, so really curious if Rob is going to be crediting us and Pony with that potential bug there, and then like whether or not Minnie's going to like really step on the gas for the rest of this mission.
I didn't see a huge reaction out of Rov, but that doesn't necessarily mean much. Quite often, he will credit. Like, Rov is the kind of player who doesn't do double takes with his laser. He just does them with his eyes so we don't get to see them. But there's a good chance he was definitely onto something there and is just sort of waiting for confirmation. So, bug done. Now that we've gotten that center statue visit, the inspects are done. We've got 85% on the flirt. If Miniorek is able to get another mission and survive it, I think that's going to be the game.
Yeah, and I think that we're going to force the issue pretty early here. So we got to leave as soon as Ambassador comes up next to us. We have no desire to be in that one.
Contact time.
It is contact time, and this is a really good contact if we can get it off.
Banana
Kind of make
bread.
it
It's
look
green.
like. All right, so Duke is out, Twin is out. We're taking low lights. Oh, actually, Wheels gets the low light there. I don't know about that one. It looked like we were kind of trying to make a Rov worry about Taft potentially banana breading with briefcase in hand because we actually waited for them to rotate back to the center of the conversation circle, fired off the banana bread, and then Taft walked out. So a little bit of flack in the air. Now the thing is, we are the only highlight though. That doesn't maybe mean a ton if Rob is just using this as threat tracking, and that we could just finish maybe the flirt here at the window. But really just hard to tell the position for Minnie and how suspicious they're going to be. There's a talk here that could have just been the last flirt, though. The fact that we're not shot is a good indication for us.
Yeah, I think Mini probably has this game. That was a weird conversation entry, but here's the talk. It's behind a pillar. I don't think Rov's even really looking for it. Miniorek with the clean bug around the back of the conversation at the start of the game gets one through on the spy side. Now, can they convert?
Yeah, excellently placed ballroom game, kind of classic in the way that we did it. And then Rob just not confident enough to shoot for it because like that's a game that you get put through your paces a lot. but you really have to just be on top of the bug and really confident that they took it, because like you really just don't want to shoot random civs that could have had bug credit, went to center statue, could have had a contact and have talked enough times. Just feels uncomfortable. So excellent game by Mimi.
That was a really nice little bug around the back. And that was able to break them through from the spy side. There haven't been many breakthroughs from the spy side, so this could be a very big deal if Miniorek is able to hold serve from the sniper side against Rov's spy in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
We're bouncing around, like that's like it's not just Rob, but that's often a thing of like the person that's bouncing around, kind of like switching around their camera, trying to find out where their seduction target is, like trying to find someone at like a middle school dance, like just like anybody that's unpartnered, and then eventually finding them. We're not going to get the best flirt off of it though.
Yep, 38% off of a distant green is certainly not terrible, but it's not the best either. You're definitely not getting flirt paired at a distance like this, but you're giving up the chance at a 2 flirt for it. Gets a print off of an early drink, though, so that could be big.
Yeah, and we have the option of joining our seduction target before they leave if we want to just get this second little flirt in here. Yeah, cute little thing right now. And so we get to be in these two different conversation circles. We do have a little bit of a threat here of getting paired. We got to get this flirt. Okay, I was worried for Rob there that after he took drink, he was going to bail on us yet again. But we're actually hitting a nice little pace in here. And it's also, again, in that Rob comfort spot that we can pivot towards a lot of different things if we get this second fingerprint mixed in.
So that brings us up to 70% on the flirt with a print pretty early on. Still over 2 minutes to play. Well over 2 minutes to play. So, Rov, a much faster start on the spy side than we usually see from them. Let's see if they're able to keep it going.
Banana bread.
Fake contact. Not in conversation with a suspected double agent either, so a true fake here.
Yeah, true fake in here, and then just on ballroom, when you get those good banana breads off, they can cause all sorts of like little cascading problems for the sniper. Because like in the last game, that was a true banana bread that was actually rushed in there and was demonstrating proximity to finishing. So maybe throwing a little bit of concern that way. There are a lot of lowlights actually coming off afterwards, though. I actually don't know what they must be for pathing, but it didn't really seem like that many of them could have been.
Flirt done at this point. Minute and 15 to play. Rov has slowed down really a lot at this point. Hasn't moved, but the double agent has dropped in to say hi, so I think he's just sort of sitting and waiting to see if he can get a good actual contact. But with a minute left to play, the time is definitely starting to become an issue.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this contact is going to be, if we get this one off, it's going to limit. Oh, and now Duke is not in the.
It's a green purloin.
Okay, so let's see where the
Banana
offer
bread.
is going to
There's
be.
the contact, a banana split to try to distract. There's the take. List is gone. Lots of cascading missions going in here. Now gets a look at the list on. The shot comes off, but it's not the right one. And once again, as soon as Miniorek breaks through from the spy side, Rov answers right back. We're tied at 10.
Yeah, and it looked like if there wasn't that shot, it didn't look like Rocker was really even on the radar as far as a follow-up shot. So sometimes you see Civ shots and just something inexplicably weird happened, and then just the Civ shot happened, kind of like Duke on Aquarium in the first set. This one was actually going on while we were finishing, so this was just a really strong game by Rob. Even if that Civ shot didn't come off, I don't think there's any chance that we were getting shot. Well done, well paced, and just really connected on all cylinders.
What is it about Miniorek getting spy wins that makes Rov's spy so much better?
I don't know. I guess it's like just demonstrate, because it's true that they've really been blow for blow, including when they have messed up in this set. Like when one of them kind of stumbles, so does the other one. When one of them really comes together, puts together a great spy game, the other one does. One of them puts together a really great sniper game to barely snip the spy's end game, the other one does it. It's just been it's for a set that this is this close. The fact that it has come together in this way is just totally unexpected. Even though, again, I think we expected the set to be relatively close, just not this way.
Absolutely. Gallery is our next stop. 3 venues to go. Miniorek once again in the spiral first. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And now I'm just trying to think of like what venues we have after this because we're starting to get closer and closer to the time where uh, uh, we're if we have this back and forth, it becomes a situation where just like winning just one venue, sweeping one venue means the entire tournament. And so it's really getting down to it. Gallery is going to be an interesting test for them now that they're playing a little bit more confidently. Playing gallery and ballroom back to back it's a similar set of options. You know, obviously it's laid out very differently, but like going from one to the other isn't going to be a complete change in your mindset going forward. So they're well prepared for this coming off of 2 SPY wins on ballroom.
Miniorek picks up a fairly early 51% flirt. Went out to the front to try to grab a contact while he was out there, but kind of got caught up in the door. Wound up having to bounce a fair bit to get out of the traffic jam, and is now trying to get back in again. Is there a spot in conversation? There is a spot in conversation. So it looks like we're going to be able to pick up this contact after all, but the front back conversation, is not as full as we'd like it to be.
Yeah, a lot of people in movement in the venue. Although now it looks like white
Now
and
it's starting to
teal are
fill
both
up.
joining. Yeah, I think we're gonna have a banana bread coming off as soon as those two joined. Well, actually, we're taking our time. Here we go.
There's the white test on the contact.
Banana bread.
Luckily, no one in either conversation really bails on us too badly. So the contact does come off cleanly. 2 minutes and 15 seconds left to play. We still have half the flirt done as well.
Yeah, and also, of course, forgot to note that we're Papa Danger on gallery. Almost certainly, we are going for a bug, walking, or we're standing still, bug, or going across left to right on the venue and going for an invisible bug with cane. Papa Danger is extremely popular on gallery for that exact kind of motion because we can shove our little cane side out, like if Ambassador was at blue bookcases now going for that direction. So we will threaten that in that way, but we still have to get some other missions done first before we can do something like that.
Was able to pick up a second flirt at a statue pad that the seduction target was inspecting. So 85% on that. Minute and 30 left to play.
Yeah, okay, so are we going to set up for a bug on Ambassador here? Like, we could go to yellow or blue painting, maybe red if we're thinking that direction. I don't think we need to be going for seduction target as much. We're putting a lot of attention on seduction target when we can finish that up later. There's lots of opportunities for that. I mean, I guess it's going to be good to pick up this inspect as well. That gives us options. Oh, it's fingerprintable as well. Okay, that's pretty good.
Can hit the print. So that's inspect. 2 inspects, rather. We've got the print. We've got the flirt done. We're under a minute to play. Only actually gets 1 inspect out of it. But it looks like Rov was very nearly willing to take the shot just off of the 1 print there. That does not bode well for Miniorek.
Yeah, of course we could not get a good look at that statue and really worried, and that's going to be a really bad indication if we're hoping to purloin here. We are at least going to hit that green. It's going to be a very long time that Toby was offering to us, though. We really want to be finishing at the same time. Are we going to go for inspects? I don't think that would be great. Okay, the purloin's happening.
List gone. Got a good look at it. Takes a moment to decide, but then eventually does go with that initial decision over to Miniorek. The shot comes off, and Rov is able to hold from the sniper side of gallery.
Yeah, and showing a little bit of deference there where maybe we missed a bug at some point, either earlier on when we were pathing near Ambassador, or at the end there after Ambassador kind of like walked near us and maybe there's something crazy we could have done. So Rob just pretty on top of the options in that SpyParty, or in that party. We controlled it pretty well. And so this just looked like a comfortable win. But Miniorek did find some options in there at that one statue to start to make it interesting. Honestly, it kind of seems like swap would have been an interesting play at that spot, but I guess Roth was looking really close at it, so I guess probably remembers who was there.
Rov into the spy side now against Miniorek's sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Okay, so Queen. Similar kinds of options for here. We could try for something if we wanted to on the way back from Ambassador. Like if Ambassador walks up. Oh man, actually, seduction target joins us. That's fantastic. And Ambassador was not going to give us any options there. I was wondering if we are going to wait for him. And we're going to follow seduction target. Our ST decay thing right now is really close to like just normal CC stuff because we're walking at like the same pace. But it seems like we're actually ended up not joining them at window. Maybe hoping that red dress comes back in here because there's nothing really out here for us.
Yeah, a little bit of an attempted Jedi mind trick here, but doesn't wind up working out. So now we just sort of wind up out at the front of the venue with nothing to do.
Yeah, and if you hang out here a long time, you're just going to start, one, burning time, but also just starting to accrue seduction credit. Although, actually, speaking of meta Jedi mind tricks, we might be pulling Red back into our conversation circle, and indeed we do.
Wow.
I think it's even close enough. I think she's standing close enough.
Just barely not
Oh,
close enough.
God.
It's 99%, but the fact that she came back to us at all was a minor miracle.
Yeah, that's just oh my god, so close. Because like that's like that like the fact that your first flirt was 51 really coming into play, where it's like, okay, is it 49? Because it's not touching, so it's not 51, but it seemed like it might have been close enough for 49, but not quite. It was a 48% flirt. So I mean, still pretty great though that came together in that way. I don't think Rob was hoping for something like that. They're also in conversation with Double Agent. I just don't. I think we need to do something before we go in and finish. Oh, Double Agent leaves though. Okay, that should hopefully kick us into doing something besides just flirting. Nope, no dice. We're just gonna flirt.
So that's the flirt done with 2 minutes to play and no other progress. Double Agent drops in to say hi, though, so we might be able to get something out of that. Unfortunately, front conversation is a little bit lighter than we would like it to be, although it's not terrible.
That tray turnaround. Oh my god. No, so the Perlin on that one, I cannot imagine Toby selling out the spy more than that. Like he just like after that white purloin, immediately after the take, it turns around and just like flashes to the sniper for exactly long enough. Like, okay, hey buddy, like just this person just white purloin. Do you want to see? Oh my god. Like, I mean, I know
Toby
there's that trend
just
thing.
got tired of people swiping his list.
Yeah, and Miniorek takes their time in that shot there from just a very confident white test. The good news though is like we hadn't really taken our big shot yet, so it wasn't one of those games where we had an incredible start and threw it away. Unfortunately, just on like a purloin, it came down to the white or green test. Still, there's a lot of time left, but hopefully, it won't be as frustrating as a game where we just lose right at the end, even though we had a great start.
Yeah. Tied at 11 coming out of gallery. 2 venues to go in regulation, starting with Courtyard. This is a venue where you cannot do this like really slow by the book play and win as spy. It's got to be a little bit more creative than that. Both of these players have shown that they can do interesting creative things on the spy side. They just usually don't. Let's see what happens on Courtyard. Miniorek on the spy first in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, we'll see what they're able to do. Let's see. So selection target starts at statues. So we could join. Oh, nope. Teal takes our spot. So we're probably not going to be joining it there. Sometimes if your selection target starts at statues in Courtyard, what you do is you join them like late. So you get the flirt in. You start inspecting. They leave because they have to sit down after their two cycles, and then you get the second inspect and the flirt in there. Now what's funny though is if we're paying attention to that, it kind of looks like Teal is flirting with Red Dress, so maybe that somehow comes into play later. We could do like a frame if Red Dress ends up next to Teal another time, but we'll see. A lot of bouncing on this entry, unfortunately.
That was a wild conversation entry. There's the green test on the flirt, a close one for 51%. But that's our first bit of progress so far.
Did Teal go statue to statue? I didn't really pay attention where she went after that, but it looks like Teal might have gone statue to statue and picked up a fingerprint. So Teal honestly might be at the top of Rob's list right now. They're just being very spy-like, and actually I think that they're going to watch Boots pretty closely here for the swap because maybe like Teal was doing something like a swap delay or something crazy like that. But of course, nothing like that is actually going to happen. I'm just very curious what ends up happening for that because a Civ shot would be huge for Mini.
Into conversation with the double agent we go. Minute and 45 to play. This has been slow and standard for Miniorek so far.
Yeah, and we're looking around for some
Banana
potential
bread.
options. Okay, banana bread comes off. Actually, I would say that's a pretty below average banana bread for Courtyard. Courtyard is one of, if not the most, banana bread friendly venues. You can wait for a better banana bread than that. I'm a little concerned at that. Like the thing is, it does keeps red dress in. Although we get the low light on Teal at some point during this. We do get the
Oh
bugs
my
out.
god, that was one of the boldest bugs I've seen in a while. Catches Rov just on a little bit of a rotation and just goes ahead and does it. Bug done from Miniorek.
Yeah, and just like a normal standing bug, just at like a really interesting time. It kind of actually reminds me of like Rov actually goes for a lot of standing bugs in conversations, just like during rotations. Seeing it at a mini is interesting because he like tends to prefer the other kinds of bugs, but just like well timed. And then we're going to be stepping in here now. Rob could actually shoot for this, right? Because if we had hit the other green flirt, I think we would be possibly done right here. So big moment that we're not getting shot at all. Although we do still have to talk right at the end.
15 seconds though, needs to chase down the seduction target. Bit of weird bouncing. What's the reaction? Seduction target does not land in conversation to us. We have to chase to window. There's the flirt. Does Rov pick up on this? It's a difficult thing to pick up on, and it looks like the answer is no. The bug was good enough, and Miniorek breaks through again.
Yes. So it looked like I was curious if we were going to not have enough overtime because it looked like potentially Twin was finishing flirt at windows and that we're going to wait for like a couple seconds and just like hover over it. But Rob was confident enough in the tracking of the party that they actually didn't have an OT shot completely lined up. And it looks like they were just going to go for Disney at the end there. So really just well done. Counterintuitive timing on the bug and just completely throws Rov off, and we get a spy win on Courtyard.
We do indeed, off of one of the bolder bugs I have seen in some time. Rov, now on the spy side. We've seen so many times this set Rov lose one on the sniper and immediately answer back from the spy. Almost has to do it again at this point. We've only got one venue left after this, but let's see what Rov is able to do in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, I can't even remember. What's the last venue? What do we not? Is it Terrace?
It's
Is it
Terrace.
Oh my god.
Last venue is Terrace.
That's a. So okay, Rob really needs to win this one. Rob, I think Rob has better chances of winning on Courtyard than Terrace. We'll see about that. But huge implications here, right? Like if Mini only has to win one of two on Terrace, that is a terrifying proposition. I think we would rather take our shot on Courtyard with this many guests. So really, this is where it is all going to come down. But we have to do something like this. Like on Courtyard, Spy is the instigator of actions for sure. So we need to be moving around and doing something here.
33% on the first flirt and in conversation with the double agent. 33 is a pretty good number. You're not going to be able to get 2 timer flirts off with it and get it all done on whites, but you're still in a nice, comfortable position as far as that is concerned. There's the contact coming off. A pretty good time for it as well. I think there was only like 1 or 2 lights available, if even that. An attempted reverse drive-by bug does not wind up taking, though.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we get marked suspicious. It was right near that bug, so I would assume that it's for response to that and not for something like just seems like they were the one that contacted. But this is a really bad indication because we don't actually have the check mark for bug ambassador and we're highlight for that. So this is looking pretty tough for Rov. I mean, and even with that, we would have to do something else. Like, let's say we had bug, we'd still be stepping into statues or doing anything to fit that fourth mission.
That's the kind of thing you need to do on this venue as Spy, but you need it to take when you make that move. And for Rov, unfortunately, it just hasn't. Second flirt comes off. This one, a green test at a slight distance, brings us up to 77%. So most flirts at this point will be able to finish that up, but having that bug not take is brutal.
Yeah, and Minnie's actually able to still pick off one or two highlights every few seconds. Looks like that pace slowed down a little bit, but like for a solid for a solid bit there, they kept like looking for inactivity is my guess because they were just letting people in conversation, could be delayed pathing stuff, but they're looking for something. Is this going to be a purloin to follow up this?
No,
It
it is
is not.
So flirt done, contact done, but we're down to 30 seconds as we step into statues, and we're credited for the bug, I think, because as soon as we stepped in there, the shot comes off. Miniorek finally converts on a spy win and now has 2 match points going in to Terrace.
Yeah, and actually, I think we were dead regardless on the inspects there. We stutter step on the pad going into going in, and like that's like a thing that you can reliably look for. Where AI, of course, won't just like do like the little stutter step things when they're like going in, unless they're like redirecting to something. But it's something where it's like just because of the clipping, you just often find that. So again, that's one where Rob was probably dead anyway. So it's nice that at least on those kinds of shots it's not like we threw away a big game, but still a bummer for Rob that we don't even get to play out the rest of that.
Either way, 2 match points. Miniorek starting things off on the spy side of Terrace. Now, the spy side of this venue is freaking hard. We expect Rov to pick up this sniper game, as we generally do in SpyParty, but if Rov still needs to get that shot off in order to give himself a chance, let's see what Miniorek is able to do in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, Mini on the threshold of generally being the underdog in 2 SMCs in a row. Now, not on the panel, just in case Mini does win. Panel looks great, chat looks horrible, but like it's just been an incredibly impressive play so far for them to get through this entire thing. Like, not of course we're focusing on the play so far in this exact set, but getting here is probably more of the battle, honestly, because they had to fight through some of the best players in SpyParty. Now, Mini, like, I'm just trying to place myself in their position about whether or not you just straight up go for like try to set up the best 50-50 that you can and then just go for purloin and just like force the sniper to shoot. Like, God, like if you have like a 50-50 gut shot for $1,200, that just feels like a terrible thing to force someone to do. So I feel like you should do it.
One low light off of a fake contact to start the game off. This is actually quite nice. Unfortunately, that was to start the game off. We haven't really done anything else except grab a delegate we haven't used. Into conversation we go with the seduction target and the double agent at this point. So that's our first flirt for 51% before the seduction target steps away from us.
We're forcing, so that one was a definite expired to purloin. They didn't actually think they were going to get that one off. They're just throwing some more stuff out there. Irish is in a really awkward spot where there probably is not going to be a spot opening up near them for a while because they're kind of like they're kind of crammed in there. But we might notice that as a potential thing for making Rob worried about Irish later. Taft does come right back to us. We could send ourselves. It looks like that's what we're doing.
Real contact, immediately getting away from it off of the green test. I mean, think we're going to be credited for that with the low light, but probably not getting too much suspicion off of it either.
Here it comes. Like this is $1,000 right here.
Rob immediately immediately takes the shot. There was absolutely no question in his mind about what was going on with that list. So it's one game that Rov absolutely needs to win on the spy side of Terrace. Miniorek on match point, but right now it's just one. Can Rov break through in 3, 2, 1, playing it?
Oh God. Okay, so like the thing is like it's so often okay we're gonna get this like little flirt here. It looks closer. Okay, we do at least get it off, but like unfortunately, I think we still might get paired with when Papa Danger is already getting low lit for this. Um, we could get paired with Papa Danger at the beginning there, even though it looked like we were closer. Just the angle just made it seem like it. So we have a low flirt and possible pairing. Are we just gonna go for? Oh no, we get high lit already. I
I
don't think
think
that's
it was
just
a
for the
little
print.
bit of a stutter step coming into the ambassador there.
Oh
The
God.
print was good, but the path was not quite there.
You know, especially on Terrace, where that's like one of the main things that you practice is like just like getting the little edges or whatever you like. Like, is your thing flirt counting? Is your thing actually trying to just like track up the rest of the missions and just going all in and trying to like see like the send or whatever? Mini tends to lean into pathing, of course, on Terrace. So I would assume their tracking is going to be pretty good. Oh God. Okay. Well, we have the option at least to finish this flirt, and then we could send after that. We can't get the double agent done at the same time, though. We're gonna
It's
return briefcase.
another briefcase. This one difficult. I like going for the difficult here. We have to hit it. We don't hit it. He ignored the action test.
That it must have been close to the. Wait, what? Is that a thing? I actually don't know that.
He ignored the AT
No, 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 no. The
on.
the the other thing where we watch checked at Windows during return. It's kind of like it's like a sip. Is that real? Yeah, okay,
Banana
he
bread.
did mean to sip. Okay. Yeah, he meant to sip. Okay, I'm seeing chat catch up to the timeline. If we saw that and are aware of the context of it, we are just dead, and that would be really sad way to lose it. So back to the ignored action test on fingerprint. Sometimes that happens just when the green's really late.
95% on the flirt, though. He didn't quite get close enough to the seduction target. It's all falling apart for Rov.
Yeah, I mean, so the thing is, we are going to get this, third fingerprint. Oh wait, did Ambassador grab a drink?
Well, he did leave the case, so we're able to get the print off the briefcase at least. But under 30 seconds to play, we don't have the flirt done. We still need to get the contact and another mission besides, and get this flirt. I think this is too far gone.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I don't even know if we should go for the contact. If it'd be better to go for a bug on our way through.
We need both.
Doesn't matter.
But we're not gonna get him! Miniorek finds the shot on the last game of the match and finds the victory. First place in the SpyParty Masters Championship.
Just well done. Like, it was such a wild start. It did seem like the players were able to settle down in the last third or so of the venues, and like that might have just honestly also been them settling down from exhaustion. I mean, this is closer than even last year's, and we played the full 28 games in a row of high level SpyParty. God, like what an endurance test. And then they were just able to find that tiny edge. God, what a close set.
What a fantastic night of SpyParty. Huge congratulations to Miniorek for pulling this one out. Congratulations as well for the prize pool. Huge congratulations to Rob for making it this far. This was a pretty stacked tournament, and everyone who's made it as far as they have deserve a huge round of applause.
Yeah, and congratulations, obviously. So first to start off with Rob. Rob had a tremendous run, had some dominant performances in groups, and then I think really just came into this one like maybe honestly, maybe even over prepared on their both parts, because I think they had a lot of like specific game plans that just didn't quite come together. But then like again, their snipers are just absolutely terrifying. So Rav, congratulations on the second place finish. I think both of the finalists auto qualify for next SMC if there's one. $600, pretty good. That was like $600 on its own before SMC ever started would have been like 10 times the amount of the highest price pool that was ever in SpyParty. Maybe there's a $100 tournament that I'm forgetting, but just incredible. It's such a dominant year. Still definitely considered one of the best players in SpyParty, and made this set extremely close. So congrats to Rav. But then I guess let's pivot it towards Mini.
Absolutely. It has been an absolutely brilliant tournament top to bottom. Thanks a ton for Wrestler, for all of the organization as well.
Yeah, Wrestler jumping in and hosting, I think, all but one of all of the streams related to SMC. And as Opie's pointing out, like huge thanks to Corvus for setting this all up in the first place. Usually the hosting award has gone to Corvus for the past SMCs because of all of that organization that she's done. But this year, Wrestler did a fabulous job getting these together. And yeah, just congratulations to them on a really a really well run tournament. And best preparation. You still have Mini winning both. That's an incredible finish. Like again, the underdog, at least communally, in both of those sets, and still able to find their win. And now, like I'm trying to imagine the graph of prize winnings in SpyParty history, and it's just this fat line next to Miniorek, who like is like the like what $2,000 in 2 years. Versus I don't even know who would be in second. I guess Rob probably had some like $200 finish from last year or something like that. But yeah, just incredible prize winnings and able to get it together.
And that is going to close the curtain on the 2023 SpyParty Masters Championship. I hope you all had as a good of a time as we did. If this is not a game you have played before, you can get it at spyparty.com or on Steam for $25. If you have played this game and are interested in getting into the competitive scene, drop over to discord.gg/spyparty. There's plenty of folks who are more than willing to point you in the right direction, and there's always competitions going on. I hope you all had a great evening, and I will see you in the next tournament.